Unmute. I can't figure out how to do this. Now I'm kind of looking on my phone here too. Joseph, I love you because you're always first. Unmute. Oops. I can't figure out I have to like mute myself on here. Hold on. There you go. How are you doing, Mr. Camus? I hear your son is out enjoying his time at the rancho. I wanted to come on to address a few things. I had tried to I don't know, if I break up, Joseph, will you let me know if this is kind of, remember before I had a problem? So I don't know if I'm still gonna have a problem, but if I like break up, let me know. Or somebody, anybody, let me know. And some of the stuff is going to be old that I'm going over from, hold on a second. Okay. From before, but I just never had a chance to say it. And that's what I was trying to do. Am I breaking up? Camus. Am I breaking up or yeah, you'll let me know. I'll just keep on going. Hey, oh, I know I have to. Is it a good one? Is it a good one? I never usually see a message in there, so I just stopped checking a long time ago. Okay, you let me know, and then I'll go over there and check if it's a good one. I actually saw you say to somebody on Twitter a little bit ago, like your messages, it's going to be even something better. I think you were talking to Carla. It was something better. Okay, thanks. So this is what I was trying to say before, but I didn't. Okay, what I wanted to say about Awesome Hooker. I know this is going to be old news, whatever, but it's just what I wanted to say from before. I think Awesome Hooker is, and this is so old, but I wanted to say it, so forgive me. I think that she is a very nice person. Awesome Hooker has helped me. Awesome Hooker has bought many of the things that I have sold. And she has treated me kindly. And I'm sorry if that I said anything that came across wrong, because it was. I guess what happened, like I know what happened was, and if you're listening, Trisha, I hope you can hear this. What had happened was I saw that private hangout thing that you did with Dave. And then I did see that, that different side of you that we all have. And you had said something and they're like, Cat, yeah, like she's a big supporter of cats. And it was just kind of mean about me. And so I thought to myself, wow, is she just telling me one thing and is she's acting another way? And then I happened to see, and I have never saw this before, a Periscope that you did with Divine, what is her name? Divine, Davita. I think you were on your porch or something, and it was just, I know this was from before, but I had always heard about that scope, but I didn't know you. And it was just really mean. So those two things coming at the same time of hearing you in Dave's private hangout saying, kind of stuff about, not a lot of stuff about me, but just about like, yeah, she's a big, cat supporter, so we don't like her and all that kind of stuff. And then seeing that, and I do realize that was from before. But I want to say that it doesn't matter what I say, but I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that Trisha would never and has never had any part of putting people's names on that Predator's website at all. And I do understand with wanting to be maybe liked or be accepted. So you think you're maybe helping some, I understand that, Trisha. So I hope you accept my apology for coming across that way and sounding that way, because yeah, I did sound that way. I didn't come across, I was being that way. And I guess it was because I just put up a defensive wall, like, is she being real to me, or is this kind of more of the same act of being played or whatever? Hey, Andrea, welcome to you. So that was that with that. I know that, I heard that she's back under her, just the name Trish. that's good. I think she's a good person, and that's all I wanted to say about that. About Tucker, I was able to see a different receipt. Not that it matters. That whole receipt thing is dropped, but I was able to see a receipt for 7,000, and people are going to go on about it forever. And yeah, that doesn't equal up to whatever the amount is, whatever. But for me, that's dropped. I'm very relieved that there is that other receipt out there. Tucker, what I do want to say to you is this, that it bothered me when you did things, when you did this thing with Becca. Becca said something to you about liking me, and you said, remember when Kat, basically what you were saying was that, remember, Kat didn't believe you about the suicide video. Thank God you're not in the other side of this. Like, thank God she's not dead and whatever. But at that same time, Tucker, you sent me an email stating that there was nothing in the video and that there was nothing there, so I shouldn't be worried about anything. So you didn't believe it either. And that's what I mean about talking out of both sides of your mouth. The same thing that you did with Dave. You said she's going to throw you under the bus as soon as you help her, but then to me on the other side, you're saying something different. And I know that we're all diplomatic, and to an extent, I do that. People do that. You want to make people happy. It really has brought out in me to become aware that I never want to do that, because when I listen to it, I go, I understand the way that Becca would take it. Like, wow, Dave, Tucker's the one that really had my back. He really believed that suicide video. And no, you didn't, at least not to me, and to others. You weren't saying that. Nobody believed it. But when it's good for you to use, you'll use it to throw somebody under the bus. And maybe a lot of people aren't paying attention to that, because for months and months and years, I was always pro Tucker, saying, because you did defend me and you said that stuff too. But I would rather have somebody who doesn't defend me on the outside and doesn't say stuff behind my back. Like, just don't like me in the front and don't like me in the back too, rather than a person who makes me think that you like me, but then behind the scenes you're saying something different to somebody else. That's what I don't like. That's what I don't want a part of. So this is, by me saying I saw receipts or anything, does not in any way, shape, or form make me say that okay. Hey, Becca. Yeah, I'm just bringing up the fact of what he said to me. So we all didn't believe it. And I was the one, remember, who came forward and got just ridiculed totally that I believed it when people were still all saying it. And that's just the way that YouTube goes. The way that YouTube goes is, I saw it just happen. And it is interesting sitting back and watching this stuff happen, because you see like the targeted things that they're going to believe and the hypocrisy that I've been involved in too. But if I can bring out of it that it makes me not want to do that, because I see how it looks. No, and I agree. And I don't want to, and Becca, that was my point with this too, is that that was the last thing I wanted to say, and I haven't been on live. And that's all that I wanted to say. And I don't want them to say that I don't want people to go around saying, oh, Kat wants to get her way back into Boyd because she's being nice to Tucker now. She's kissing up, saying that she saw a receipt. That's not it. I'm just speaking my truth. And it's really not that big of a deal. Like, it's not that big of a deal, but it's dangerous, because an example just like that was something that was true, but how people could be made to believe it's something different because the whole group goes along with it. The whole group goes along with it. And thankfully, nothing happened there. I see this happen a lot with other people and going on, and it'll continue to go on. And, it is what it is. A few things I wanted to address. Yeah. A few things I wanted to address too. Gosh, where do I begin? RV Davey. Wanted to address this because it's weird. I can see Tasha over there. I can see Jeff T. Rowe over there. I can see anybody else, so they don't get the shit that I get for going over there. all of a sudden it's, cat supports child molesters, or but the other one that I heard is cat heard that he's getting an inheritance, and so she's trying to kiss up and be nice. No, let me tell you my story with that real quick. Exactly. Exactly. Hey, girly. I wanted to talk about so much to talk about, but I'll see if I can remember it all. Um, when I first heard about him, I saw his stream, and I turned onto it because, of course, people had heard. This was a long time ago, maybe a year ago. And I literally saw the Walmart that I would use. I mean, there's so many Walmarts around, you guys know. This was literally the one that was a mile from my house. And the In-N-Out Burger he goes to, and the things. I mean, it was a little corner of North Phoenix, Paradise Valley area, and that was the ones that I would go to. And I was thinking to myself, God, if I keep on watching, and if he shows a Starbucks, am I going to see Ari at the drive-through window? Because it's literally, he's in my backyard. But then I heard all this stuff about him, and understandably, I heard the stuff about him, and I kind of went over there with that same mentality of like, oh my God, you're just disgusting. And I thought I heard a dog in his RV, and I made some comment like, you can't have a dog in there. It was just something not nice. And then I just didn't go for a long time. And then I went over there again because I wanted to see, it was like a little piece of home. I got to see the stores that I went to, and it was just kind of interesting. And then I saw the trolls that would go in there, and he's getting trolled heavily. And I'm not going to get into everything because it's not everybody's cup of tea. But what I got out of it was some compassion, not compassion for a person who, I'm not even talking about the story. And the story was, people, it's bad enough as it is, but there's no need to embellish to make a story even worse. There was a picture of an underage girl, 12 years old, that was found on his phone, and it was his niece. And he had a job, and I read through all the papers, talked to his friends. He had a good job at the time in 1995, making $70,000. He owned his home, he owned everything. So he took a plea deal because he would have to have spent all of his money, sell your house and do everything to defend yourself, because it's a horrible thing to be accused of. It's a horrible thing to do. It's a horrible thing to be accused of. The whole thing's just horrible. It's nasty. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth all the way around. The deal would have been he wouldn't have to spend any time in jail. I believe he would have to do 6 months in jail, not prison. And then at the time it was lifetime probation. Since then, that lifetime probation or parole or whatever it's called has been called unconstitutional. So he did it for 13 years, and I guess it was pretty strict. And he got off of that and never did anything. And he's got all of his civil rights back. He's got his right to vote back. He's got everything back. He's paid the price of being labeled this for the rest of your life. It's not enough what he did, but, and I don't want to say but I am, the story changes online to, you could pretty much have people believing it's part of a sex ring, and it's something, it's bad enough as it is. Right. Exactly. He says, eclectic, Celeste, he says that it was the father who did it. And I guess later on, the father did go to jail for molesting his daughter on a different crime. That's what he says. There's never been, and when he had to be on all this probation, he had one violation because it was so intense that they came to his house and he had visitor there, and this was back when computers were still new. One of his visitors had a laptop, and he got a violation for a visitor having a laptop because you really were really monitored, which I think that these child predators should be. I am not against that. It's, the whole thing is disgusting. But seeing the poor health that if I'm not rationalizing anything, in my head, if he would have been a person who touched a child, I don't want to say and it's worse because I don't want to downplay what it was. It was a picture of a 12-year-old, and I guess it was trying to be sold online or something, and it got caught. I'm not exactly sure how that part went down, but you can see in the records that he did get all of his rights back. To get your rights back, you had to be convicted of a felony that served less than 10 years in prison. You had to be, there's a whole bunch of criteria to get it back, including your gun rights, all that kind of stuff. I see he is a person who lost his entire family, and I saw his feet, and I know if my dad had diabetes, and I see his feet, they're pussing, they're all red and bloody. They won't heal. They won't, they're just really bad shape. And then I see how he's treated. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be treated that way. So don't try to think that I'm trying to get off lightly. I just think that sometimes people need somebody to be nice to them. Now, if I was somebody with a child, if I was somebody who, you know, had things like that to risk, I probably wouldn't have put my neck out so far. If I was somebody that saw him being just, you know, he's still continually like that, like he's like an alcoholic on stream, like Amanda, who is doing stuff to people there, you know, it's just, I think he needed some compassion. That was it. I think he needed some compassion a little bit because he's getting trolled by people online. There's a person, it's continual. Now, the other thing is he's missing. I don't know if you saw this. The other day he was in a Denny's and he was very ill. I turned away because I don't want to say simple. I don't know how else to say it. Seems like he thinks a little bit different than other people sometimes. And in his stream, he was in the bathroom and you could hear him going, like he wasn't aware how embarrassing it was because you could hear him going to the bathroom and throwing up, and he was so sick. After that, he hasn't been seen since. And his friends that I have talked to, he's got friends there locally who vouch for him and will say he's a very gentle person, and that they will say that this story isn't true about what happened in the past. They can't find him. They've called all the hospitals. They've called Denny's where he was at. They've called and they remember him being in there and being very sick. This person, Davey, lives on his live stream. So he is somebody who will be there. Thank you. I love you, girl. Bedouin. Thank you. And I just was watching your video about the makeup that you had, and anyways, I'm going to talk to you. Hey, Jesse. Hey, welcome, Jesse. That's another thing too. Anyways, he's missing. He's had multiple heart attacks. His friend had a house fire, so his needles and his insulin and everything had burned up in it. He's not taking care of himself because I think he just doesn't, even though he puts on this very friendly face, it's got to be very depressing. It's got to be very depressing. He's in Scottsdale, grew up in a nice life, and his whole family won't talk to him either. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve that. So don't, you're very welcome, beautiful. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve that. I'm just saying that sometimes you have to have a little bit of compassion for a person, a little bit of compassion for a person. And this mob mentality, it sickens me. It just does. And to see it happen online, and I will use this as an example if I could, and I won't, not just because she just came in there, but I'll use it as an example. And if you put anybody under the fire, like these mob things in YouTube could do to you, people will break. Like when I will break, I'll have like, you know, this crying fit breakdown type thing. Men may break and they may turn into complete assholes and say the worst things. I believe that Jesse's husband gets pushed to the brink in times that he says some things that are inappropriate. When I have listened to him and he is calm, and her, and she's great, I think that they are targeted bullying. I think that I will get shit for saying that, and people are going to want to bring up all this stuff that was said. People are going to want to bring up what they did or what he did or what whoever did, but nobody's hands are clean. And I'm never going to go along with that. I mean, if I see somebody and I will judge them on how they are with me. And when I have seen Nick on panel, I like how he talks. I like his deep thinking or his thought process. I actually listened to him in uni, and I know that I don't know if they are friends now, if they're not friends now. Thank you very much. Thank you for knowing that. Thank you very much. And yeah, and it's hard. It's hard, Jesse, because you know what? Like with me as well, you're never going to be able to live that down, like of anything that was said. And for the most part, I've realized that the loudest people saying things are the minority, that there are so many other people who listen in the background and see that a person is actually a better person and see what's been done. And they'll, like, you probably have it. I'm sure people reach out to you and say, hey, this isn't cool. This isn't, what should happen. And I mean, even I'm happy that Stewie, what had happened was I had heard that Stewie, and I didn't know the story, but I had just heard somebody had doxed his children or something. I don't know what it was, but I was in another live stream and I had said something. I was saying, I just think it's not cool that the whereabouts of his kids were found or something. And somebody said to me, you better watch who you stick up for. Do you know that Stewie is anti-Semitic? And there's a couple things that I'll go crazy for, and it's just me, and I'm being real. I will be very irrational. You can call me fat, you can call me whatever, but if anybody makes anti-Jewish remarks, I will hate you forever. It's my Achilles. It's not going to hurt me, but I will not talk to you. So I had gone into a room and I had asked, because I like Stewie a lot, and I had asked, because he's always been a gentleman to me, if he had said anything, but he took it as I was being a pot stirrer and that I was just trying to stir the pot. And I guess if I would have had somebody to ask privately, maybe I would have asked, but that really is my Achilles. I just really want to know the people who speak ill of Jewish people, and I will hate them. Is Mallory in here? Why do I see Mallory? I know I did before, but I went back and unblocked her from way long ago. Okay, so I want to give her a wrench. Oh, great. Hold on. No. Rory is making a convenience store trip run, and I am getting a hot dog. And Valerie, if you see this girl, I'm gonna find the way of where you are blocked on here. That's got to be the thing, and I will undo it and make you a wrench, because I think Mallory has really opened up that. Well, there's people in here like Celeste who are kind. That she's so kind, funny. It's not like she's kind, like she's like, I'm not trying to say saint-like thing. I'm not like going there and being weird. But if somebody's getting bullied or attacked, she will make it okay. by giving a little message. And I learned from that about what it really means, what that really means. And she probably doesn't even aware that I'm even aware of it, because I'm so horrible with my social awkwardness lately anyways. But, and then Mallory for giving me like the backbone back to really, Mallory, really, truly, I don't care. And it's not like I don't care what people say. Oh, do you hear Moshi? He's crying because she left. What's wrong? You crying because Auntie Roro's gone? She left you. She doesn't love you. She said so. Yes. It's just that I want to live in my truth. Like, I'm not like saying you have to like say everything that you feel, but I no longer feel that I have to make people like me as much at all. I'm getting over that at this age. I know, weird. Also, hey James. Hey James. I want to say to Becca in the room, and I know that, and so Dave, if you're listening, plug your ears, because this is how I really feel. Becca, I'm absolutely in love with how much you, and I know that this is wrong, and I'm not trying to be controversial, but the way that you and Carl are loving each other, and however you met, and it seems like Dave is okay with it right now, so maybe I guess it was time for people to move on. But your love is that it reminded me, because I was watching the Bridges of Madison County the other day, of that story of the woman who is kind of like neglected and taken for granted, and she finally gets awoken to what real love really is. So I'm just saying that I wish you guys would do more streams. I mean, it is interesting to see what's going to happen. Dave, I know you're going to listen. Don't hate me, Dave. Don't hate me. But it's funny when they showed the Iowa, Dave, when they showed Iowa and then you got busted on it. Now, I don't know, Dave, if you were trying to do some MFD, maybe it was. And please don't get on me for that. But you got to admit that was funny. You got to admit it was funny. Dude, hey, Ginger. Hey, welcome. You got to admit that was kind of funny. Now he's in Florida, and I'm wondering if that's a Florida picture from like maybe Panama City Beach. It looks an awful lot like Panama City Beach. I'm just saying. And I really, Dave, this is true. I like to do an interview with you, Dave. I want to get in your head and see, at that time you posted, do you believe people believe it? Or are you really just MFD? Like, do you really believe people believe it? Because there's some good people are going to find anything out. People are going to, these days, if you put a picture, the trolls are amazing. They're going to like Google search that. And I thought it was funny the other day, Carlos, I guess I'm on his shit list now again. And he was going into rooms saying the Glamorous Life supports child molesters, and he spelled it wrong, which I think is really funny. And he told me officially that I'm like basically on like, I don't know, the wanted list or something, and that I've been kicked out of Boyd. And I look back at my life, where it's been over the past year and a half, and I want to go, like, if the worst of my problems were dealing with me being kicked out of Boyd, is that it, Becca? Then that's it. Isn't it? At some time, you had to have wanted in his brain. Like, I want to pick somebody's brain, because they're so really, I don't know another way to say it. It's just so not ever believable. Like when he was out with the dogs in the field, it wasn't believable. Like nobody really believed it. Even when it was at the farm thing, Dave, Dave, people were just going along with it. Nobody believed it. But anyways, okay. I was trying to explain that to Rory too. And Dave, don't be mad. I have to be able to say this. I'm living my true life. So, I got to say this, dude. So you're telling me the annihilated island of the Bahamas, you're going there. And your answer was, yeah, you dummies. Dude, you dummies. That's why I'm getting it so cheap. But he's going to go there. He's going to bring Sophia. Okay. Okay, you're gonna get past all that, and you're gonna pay. How much would that cost to take the ferry and your fifth wheel and your truck? What would that cost? I understand maybe if you have like maybe you're like a multimillionaire and you have a Lamborghini you want to bring on the ferry to go someplace else, but that's something that like uber rich people usually do. Or if you're moving forever and you're getting paid to move, or I don't know, something like that. But let me just tell you, Dave, nobody believes it. And I'm not saying that as a hater, but we do have fun watching it. And I'd like to think, Dave, that I'm laughing with you and not at you. In my head, so I don't feel so bad, I'm going to think I'm laughing with you and not at you because nobody believes it ever. And then occasionally you throw in some stuff there that comes out to be true. Like when you guys paid all that money for the attorney in Chicago, I didn't believe it was true at all. And lo and behold, you guys did it. You guys did it. Oh, yep, exactly. Exactly. He believes his own stuff. I just I mean, that would maybe it would be nice to kind of live in oblivion like that to where you haven't taken like the what is it, the green or red pill and you don't realize that nobody believes you. And I'm really truly not trying to say that to come across like a bitch, but it's like nobody believes you. Just like when I realized, and I'll go back to it again, how somebody looks when they're saying one thing to one person and then something to somebody else, but it looks so fake. Even if you're not, even if you're trying to be diplomatic, you're trying to make people not hate you. There's not like a really a maniacal reason why you're doing it. Seeing it now in other people makes me go, oh God, I'm cringing at me ever doing that because I didn't do it to be mean. It's just how I was, raised and brought up and how I did things. And um, you know, uh, exactly. Exactly. Responsibility, accountability. Um, yeah. And Becca, I was looking at places to go ahead. I had asked Celeste on my Twitter if she'd like to go to Jerusalem with me. I wanted a girls trip because I like I love I'm spoiled and I want to find cheap places to go first class. And I know that I can't afford to like fly the world every day, first class. But I saw that at certain times of the year, England flying first class isn't that bad of a price as opposed to like going to France. It's 11K to go into Charles de Gaulle, but to go to England, it was like 2,800 for a first class ticket. Yeah, I know. Yes. Oh, okay. Okay. There are just questions like that. I don't know. I'd love to hear the answers to things like that. Not even, I don't know. Like you, I get it. I get it, Becca. Even I was talking to Rory, and Rory was like, from the first minute that she came into our hangout back in the housewives days, and that first time, it was like we just believed you. There's just something that was resonating of just a desperation kind of a thing there, and it makes sense of everything. Like you really have to get through being that unhappy, you have to pretty much throw yourself into work or school or stay drunk because you're self-medicating. And that's the only I mean, I threw myself into shopping, so I'm putting myself in there too. Like my, drug of choice became shopping when it became too much and I didn't, it was. So I am on a 27. Yes. I will lie and say I'm 26, right? When I when before what I've been doing recently, guys, this is like the same subject, but what I've been doing recently is I have been to kind of fill my time and not and to get off YouTube and to kind of like better myself a little bit, is I've been taking the free course, the free trial version of a lot of these language programs to help aid in another foreign language. Like when I went to UPenn when I was over in Israel, and but I don't I can speak conversational Hebrew. I can't read Hebrew at all. And I didn't I it's been a while and I didn't even have enough. So that's really all, and I can read it like phonetically wise. So I was taking that to study. And I just said, I'll just take French because I never took French in school. I took Spanish. And jobs that if I could get it, I'm thinking to keep on with Hebrew after I am able to afford the program, to actually buy the program and to keep on with Hebrew, because what I can do from home, um, being bilingual in Hebrew is a lot. And I know I do have somewhat of a network of people that I have worked with before when I used to do voiceovers and when I used to do a lot of the stuff for the Israeli with Memory TV. I worked with Memory TV, and we put out we put out, not we, they put out, and I just was the voice of a lot of the documentaries of I won't get into it. Look it up if you want to. Memory TV, MEMRI TV. It's out of Tel Aviv. But there are still people, some people that I know that are still around, and maybe they could get me hooked up with something. I know if like with French, I mean, you have to have like a degree in that, and it's so, much harder. But something like that. I'm looking at all these different avenues to do for the next chapter in my life. You feel great. Oh, Belize. Ooh, I'd love to go there. Prague is too, and Prague is amazing. Prague, walking through Prague and realizing Hitler left Prague he was going to have it as a museum. And I'm wondering, how did all this stuff make it through World War II when Hitler just destroyed every synagogue, every Jewish monument, just anything he destroyed. But he left this area, the Jewish section of Prague, where there's seven synagogues within a couple mile radius. All that, the oldest synagogue in the world is in Prague. I mean, one that they can actually date back, and it was used like in the 1400s and everything. And it was so beautiful. You can see why now that Hitler wanted that as a monument to the extinguished race. Like he was planning on, no Jews ever existing, and to have that. So there, I love that place, and that was like really gorgeous. But I would like my drug of choice in the future will be working hard and saving and having a couple really good trips a year. And I may have to, I'm starting out slow. I may have to go by myself on one, and that's fine too. I've never done that before, but it's all new, and it's all like, it's kind of exciting, but it's kind of like the first day of school exciting where you're afraid too. So welcome back. Oh, yes. Yes, I know. Thank you to my daughter, Mouthy Mama Katie. Thank you very much. I am getting close to this whole thing. I am going to be moving back to Arizona. And that's why I was watching a lot of the RV Davy videos too, because he, like I said, besides going to the stores that I was at there, I saw places that I knew, and his knowledge, because he's lived in Arizona his whole life, of, you could ask him any question on it, and it really gave me a newfound love of it. And so now I'm trying to decide on, I could go 40 minutes out of the area for the same price and have a house, or if I want to be where I want to be, I can afford like, a 1-bedroom condo, but you're in location. So that's what I'm trying to decide now, is like location. I'm thinking location. location. Plus, well, I have to get everything I'm trying to do is like, finding my way around getting my driver's license because I'm a big wussy. So I just found out that any scooters are legal in all the 50 states. They can go up to 20 miles an hour and they don't have to look like a mobility scooter. In fact, there's this one that looks like a little circus cart. So like the fat lady getting out of the little circus cart. Anyways, it's got a top on it and it's got like a radio and everything. And it can go in the bike lane and I could drive it without insurance and without a license. So that I'm thinking if I live in this area, I can do it on my scooter. Ah! I'm scared to drive. I'm scared. You go so fast on the highway. I will die. I will die. That's what I'll do. I'll die. Becca, oh my God, because you had to fly coach, right? Right? They drive those there? Yes, those. And why not? I'll save on gas. I'll be like saving the environment. You know, thank you. I am because it still makes me my husband still won't talk to me. Like the house is closing on Friday and there's these last minute things that he won't talk to me. I'm just saying about normal I'm planning the dreaded trip of seeing him one time where I can go into the house for 3 hours. I can say goodbye to my animals. I have decided I played the job of Solomon there, my cat who has been there with him. I've decided not to separate my cats because he's been there. So I can say goodbye to my animals that are there. I'm going to be strong. Maybe I'll live stream it. Hey, Dory. The Villages. I love the Villages. Rory's relatives went there. I love how they have little old drunk people in the different neighborhoods. I would love to live there. I would love to live there. As I'm finding right now, I don't want to be, this is it. This is it too. You go, okay, we lived in North Scottsdale. And it's a nice area in Scottsdale. It's like the area in Scottsdale to live. But we were 85254 and 85260. I mean, we're comparing really good to really good, right? My husband always said when we bought the house, we should have gone 85260. We're still in North Scottsdale, but it's like being a little bit better in it. So now I'm like going, you know what? Okay, my one little thing, I want to buy an 85260. I want to have him one day see, the bitch is an 85260. It's my little thing. So I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to buy a house so that I never have to have a payment on a house and that I just have to pay for the association fee. I don't get any disability. There's no disability that I'm ever getting. Don't get anything, nothing like that at all, regardless of what you've heard. $50,000. I hear this, people say this too. What did I hear? Just somebody else saying this. I did not receive $50,000 from my husband last year at all. I received my cell phone bill paid for, which was, I don't know, my share of it every month was, I don't know, it was me and him on the same plan. And he legally was required to give me my medical insurance as what he let lag there for a few months. That's all that I got. When I left, I got one $500 gift card. I got my hotel paid for 2 days, which he extended to being a week. And then while I was there, he gave me another $500 gift card. I was never given any other money. I before racked because I know that you can just say things in these papers that are lies. And I know because they're straight up lies. I cut his wires, lies. They're just lies. I mean, when it's a civil thing like this, it's lies. All I could think of is that because the dollar amounts do match, I was able, okay, so he paid for the initial $7,500 on my retainer for my attorney, of which my attorney negotiated a deal that I would meet him at the bank and he would give me 2 bonds. The bonds were $10,000 each and my bonds, mine, nothing to do with him. And they matured at like $1,300. So I paid him back that 7,500, and then I got my bonds, the extra, 15,000 of that, of which all of that right then went to the attorney. I then was able to find, I was going to get a car many times, if you guys remember this. I even had a car that we sold before when I first got my money. And I didn't get my license. I had got another cashier's check a couple years before for $30,000, and I was going to buy a car. This is all my convoluted ideas, guys. Anyways, because the check was not cashed within 6 months, it went back into the stock account. I was able to access that with that $30,000 that was in that stock account. That was one night of like laying there, and Rory and I to this day still think it was my dad as a little angel telling me like, I got you, I'm going to help you. That all went for, I paid that whole summer, probably $4,000 to $5,000 in Airbnbs, because I had thought that everything was going to be closing. I couldn't go to Florida because I constantly had to be back in court. I had nowhere to be. Living in an Airbnb in the summer in Arizona is a lot less expensive. It was, $2,000 a month, which equals out to being, I don't know what, $75, $80 a day or something, less expensive than a hotel. So, and I paid for my attorney. My attorneys are paid for, and it was paid for by me. And I have all the canceled, not that I have to show anything like this because I don't. So my husband always thought of my money as his money. So I'm sure when he said that amount, he's taking into consideration the money that I had gotten out of that account to pay off the lawyer. When I ran out of money in the fall, I ran out of money. When I was in Florida and had to get back for that, that's why I didn't want to leave ever, because we had things like this always. When I finally had to leave because I had no more money to stay at an Airbnb, is when we were having that negotiation thing. And when I reached out and I asked people for help that I was going to pay back, that I didn't get at the time, it was the last minute that the judge had an emergency meeting and I got the money to fly there. I think it was like he had to put a couple thousand or something in my PayPal, along with what it cost for the negotiator, the whatever they're called, negotiations with the judge, just to try to settle everything. So never anything. The money that I've always asked, from the beginning of this, my husband had money that was hid, and it's all over now, so it doesn't matter. $250,000 in stocks, in this one account of gold, GLD, SLV, Cisco, Vodafone, which is a European, everything. Never wanted it. Even though when I first met my husband, he had nothing and I was the one that was paying for everything. And so we built the business. I never asked for half of the business. The business only came into it later on at the very end as a negotiation because he wanted everything of mine. What I still had left was all of my bonds that my father gave me that said Kathleen Schmelke on the bonds, which is my maiden name. Hold on a second. Which he couldn't touch. I had the gold and silver, just, over 100 ounces of gold and silver that he kept. My dad had collected his whole life, the silver quarters for the most part. He had silver coins too. They were boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes that were not put in a safety deposit box because it was so much. They were actually kept behind his wall in his house. Anyway, you guys know the story of how he took that a year beforehand. Anyway, the bottom line is I only ever asked for what was mine. I never asked for even any of the joint bank accounts. I never asked for any of that. Never asked for any of that. I thought maybe, I think at the time in the beginning, I'm sure I thought of, I want to get back together, so I don't want to, I know that money is really important to him, so I don't want to hurt him like that. I don't want to hurt him where it hurts. Like, money is really important to me. Unfortunately, money is not important to me. It has become more. I've become more responsible because I know what it's like now, and I'm not taking anything for granted. But then I know myself with the business, you know, people could say you were there for it because I named Lionsgate because he was in the IDF, and that's the gate that he came through in Jerusalem, Lionsgate. He didn't want to call it that because he thought it sounded too Jewish. He didn't want, hey, JK, welcome, honey. And if there's somebody in here who's just being like, you know what I mean, whatever, please, admins, just get rid of them, because I don't want any of the negativity. If people have never gone through anything and know what it's like to lie on a divorce, you've never seen War of the Roses then. You've never seen these things where complete lies can be said. As I'm saying this, I hope people who have been around will know the truth sounds like the truth, because I have nothing to hide. The truth is the truth. I'm not getting anything from this except for, I know a few people were kind of interested and curious. So that's it. I wouldn't be able to be, I like that I'm not that kind of person who was going to be so cutthroat and do the games that he did with me to him. I know I need more of that Mallory in me. I need more of that, like, you know, more of that backbone in me, because that's the one part that I'm really weak. Because if they're going to do it to you, you got to look out for yourself too. So I want to try to get more of that in me, as well as keeping some of that. Like, I could not look at myself in the mirror and be that greedy. Like, if we had, anyways, there's plenty of money. There's plenty of money. He has plenty of money. And this was all over money. You know, right? Exactly, Celeste. Exactly, JK. And so I have no, you know, reason to say anything like that. I guess, and the fact, I think it's, the one thing I think too is the fact that he can't face me. He can't look at me because he knows what he did. He knows what he stole. He knows what he took. I'd like to think that one day, like right now, I mean, you know, we've had now the highest of holidays. We've had the Day of Atonement, where what you have done for the past year is written in the book of life, and you're supposed to go to the people that you have wronged and, you know, atone for that. You're supposed to everything. And he will go to the services, I'm sure, but it won't, he's not that deep of a thinker. He just won't get it. He won't get it. And I know it's not bad mouthing him. It's just, he won't get it. And I think it says a lot that everybody who's an ex in my life, my first ex-husband, down to my very first boyfriend, Carl, down to Simone, everybody that I've known, down to Casey, I am still there. They have art, and I am still, there's not one ex of mine that this has happened to like this. I have always been one that has been completely, I can't, once I've loved you, I just don't want to not have you in my life ever. Even if it can't be just like in your life every day, you know, maybe, you know, put me on your list if you need someone to call for, you know, if you're sick or something, or, you know, anything like that. I mean, he doesn't know that many people, he has business associates, but he's not going to have people when he passes away that knows that he has to get buried by the next day. He's not going to have people that will give, he's just not going to have that, because he doesn't make those connections. And couldn't I have at least been that person? Couldn't you have at least, because it's not like we're talking about that, even the divorce agreement, It says on there, no abuse happened. There was no abuse. The first thing when I met my attorney, the very first time, he shook my hand and he said, because there was that order of protection, and he said, "You're not a violent person, are you?" He goes, "No, I've been doing this for 35 years. I can tell a person who was just to get out of the house, or I can tell when it's actually real. And that's just not how I am. I can throw his shoes in the pool, yeah, when I'm crying, and I will cry and throw an annoying tantrum. But I'm not that one who will take out a knife and cut a bitch. It's just not me. I will cry like a baby. I'm more annoying, I think, like that. But I will put animals outside to save them because I feel bad. Like my conscience sometimes is just like, I feel really just, bad, guilty. Have that Jewish guilt going on. Anyways, so I still hope out of this that one day, I look back at all the stuff that he's done to me. Like we had that order of protection and he reported me to the police. I mean, I spoke to the police and after he reported me for getting a hold of him. And they didn't say this, but this is what I got from my lawyer, is that when they have cases like that, if they're getting proof that you have contacted him, and if it was something like you are calling multiple I mean, we're talking about, I will send him a sad text. In the beginning, maybe it was 2 or 3 a month. Now hasn't been for months. A phone call, he probably has a total of 10 voicemails that I've left him that are sad. And so when the police read that, they're going to go, this is what my lawyer said, that when the police read that, they're going to go, we're not going to prosecute this here. I mean, this woman is like crying and saying that she's sorry and telling you the cute little love things that she loves about you and the things that she misses about you. There was nothing evil in it. But the fact that he went down there each time and tried to get me in trouble with the police and tried to do that to me. When he wouldn't help me get out of the hurricane, when my dog died and he wouldn't tell me, and she was up the street from me and still alive when I was in that Airbnb, and he didn't even let me know. It's things like that that I guess you can't ever forgive. I wish he didn't put that scar on my heart that way, because I would have given him his money. He probably spent, and I had money from the lawyer taken off, because at the end, what had happened, my lawyer that I had in the fall, Paul, my first lawyer got in trouble for trying to make a deal. His lawyer, Kip, that he fired and got another lawyer later on, is absolutely crazy. And everybody has said this about him. When he came into my bedroom when I was served, just things that he does that are just so unprofessional. That's how he does. That's how he fights a case. He fights a case where he keeps the parties really fighting. And anyway, so my first lawyer and him were trying to work together. My first lawyer really wanted to help me. So he was trying to help me because he saw my second lawyer wasn't doing anything. But that's against the rules. You can't do that. My second lawyer found out about it because I asked my second lawyer, is this a good deal? And he's like, where'd you get this? And I'm like, my lawyer and Ari's lawyer are working this deal. And at that point, my lawyer went and filed against him all these, I don't know what it's called, but against the bar rules and all that kind of stuff. So that part was, at that point, when I left my lawyer last time, I had paid him $38,000. I had owed another $25,000 on top of that. All of that got dropped. So my second lawyer did do something really good. He got all that dropped. And then my second lawyer was completely paid up. And my third lawyer, which was just a total waste of money, he was paying him by the month, and I gave him that $4,000. And it took him 3 weeks to get the papers. And then he was on vacation in Chicago for a week. So I was due to pay again. and I didn't have the money to pay him again because I had thought that he was going to go after my very first attorney. And I won't keep on going with this. This is probably confusing. Should have gone after temporary support because, and to try to get some of the stuff released to me. Where his mistake was, is that he knew Kip, my husband's attorney. And I think that that's the reason why Kip went to him, is because he saw that he was a softy kind of guy. And they knew what they were doing because they had a year and a half to plan for this. He had thought everything. That's why I stayed there. It was always, it's going to be over next month. We don't want to go for this support because it's going to be over. We're going to settle for this. And he didn't realize who he was up against with this. The person fighting the whole time to have this not be settled has been my husband, because he wanted my stuff. He wanted me to have the house, which I paid for with my inheritance. That house in Florida was paid for by me fully. I just was trusting. I mean, what kind of a gold digger am I if I'm trusting and I put his name on my house, but he didn't put my name on his paid for house? I put all of my money into his account. I trusted him. I saw my stuff was missing a year beforehand, and I trusted him. I trusted him because in my life, being in a bubble, people just didn't do that. Like my dad didn't do that to my mom. As much as she would go out spending or as irresponsible that she would do, my father would not do that. I happened to find the man who would do that. The man who money is way more important. The man who, when they talk about love of money is the root of all evil, this is the love of money, because he threw his entire first family away through this. A story that I may tell someday or not tell someday, the story with my brothers. We can thank Ari for that as well. And that's all I'll get into. Ari's family had a big, huge fight over the inheritance when his parents died before mine did. And he speaks to nobody in his family. And he did this exact same thing. And my naivete in thinking that somebody wouldn't possibly do this to you, was oblivious. I was bad in the fact that I spent too much. I was bad in the fact of the last couple of years of our relationship, when I felt so not listened to and so neglected, that I neglected myself. I neglected things as well. I, out of frustration, because he just wouldn't talk to me, said things that were so hurtful that I never should have said. But I never would have guessed that this would have happened. I never would have guessed at all that this would have happened. Thank you. I agree. People want to do, and you know what? The people who come in here and be hateful, like the Lindy thing. Looney is getting busted left and right. Hey, Michelle. Hey, sweetie. She's another one person that I want to even get to know more because she's a bright, shining star. Anyways, so Looney is getting completely attacked on Twitter. What you guys don't see, who are here on Facebook, who are here on YouTube, who don't get to see the scopes, search Lindy Zoloft Periscope and you will find her Periscope, and you will find that she's not gone anywhere. She's doing multiple scopes a day. I can say that now because I know that they've safely all been downloaded. And I guess like Lindy has the channel called Lost and Found Videos. Well, I am aware that there's another channel out there that somebody else did that has all of her lost and found scopes. So she can never say that she didn't do them. Right now, I think it's just humorous because this woman will not admit the simplest of things. The simplest of things will she ever admit. Like, she wants to pretend that her life is just charmed and she's with like the most beautiful man in the world and he would never hurt anybody and she's never done wrong and everything is great. And when a person does that, you know they're lying. When a person makes you, and when a person, and I know why she's, got some following on YouTube, because Jerry Springer had following on YouTube, or would have a following. He had a following in the broadcast world. People like that. People can turn that off. With her, it's real. You can see she echoes a lot because she's in the bathroom doing it. So I don't know, what's his name? Tuggy. That's what I love. I'm copying Vlogger Puppets. If you guys watch Vlogger Puppets too, he's spot on, is perfect about Looney. Whatever his name is, Tuggy, Tommy, Tyrese, whatever her husband's name is, or her boyfriend, excuse me. She's getting annihilated on Twitter by some very, very intelligent people who simply can turn that off as well, turn off Twitter, go home for the night, go to their husbands or their wives or whatever, and live a normal life, while they just throw back under her face every lie, every contradiction, because she's doing it left and right. Like, as much as I don't get along with, I don't not get along with, I'm cool with Boris now. I'm not, we're not friends, we don't talk. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with him. I just, last time, if you listen to this, Jim, I'd like to know, maybe personally we can talk. I'd like to know why you went back and told her that stuff. Just, I don't know why. I trusted you then. And you went back and told her that stuff right away. Anyways, so the person like that, I don't want them back in my life, but every single thing that he's saying about her is true. And Rory and I were saying this. Rory and I just said, yeah, he's good. Tubby, his name is Tuggy. Tuggy, not Tubby, Beavis. Pay attention. But Rory and I were saying, why doesn't, anybody saying anything, just put the headline out there. Kat and Rory were right. We all should have listened to you guys again. And then move on with it. That's what we're hoping for. That's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the Kat and Rory were right. Lori, if you would have listened to us, girl, she wouldn't have come over here. If anybody would have listened to us about Looney, Jim, if you would have believed us about Looney, when we talked to you about Looney, if you just would have believed us, you wouldn't have had to go through this. You wouldn't have had to have a psycho in your house. A psycho. I picture her, the amount that she cannot admit the truth. Like, she will go down, like, she will be like LCD, where not admit the truth till just never, even faced with God at the pearly gates, will not admit anything that they've done wrong. But I picture her as like this top, and all these, she's just getting slammed left and right with the truth, and all of her lots of cards is just coming down. I mean, it's coming down. If you're not watching it, you got to watch it. I picture her circling herself like in a circle, like a top going crazy. And pretty soon, like, the top of her head's just going to like explode off, and it's just going to go whoo, and she's going to like melt away, and she's not going to have ever really been real. Like, with a lot of people on here, like, I've been following some of the things that go on with, I don't know, Miss effing wonderful Katie, and then with this side and this side and this side, I can see where other, when you can stand back from it, you can see the truth in every place. Like, nobody's 100% correct and everything. With this whole Looney thing, there's like right, and then there's her. There's like black and white. So this is not going to be a case where there's ever going to be a chance. Like, you guys are going to find out in a year from now that you were straight up like hipster heaven. If you're real, if you're not real, whoever. Because I know that people are saying Looney is other people. I know that Looney is like the whole Lisa, all of her little fake names that she's out there that she pretends she's got friends with. You're going to realize, like, the people who were talking to Dishing Dirt for a year, you're going to realize you are talking to a fraud. And absolutely nothing that this woman said is true. Absolutely nothing. I mean, she's got a cat, so I guess that's true. I mean, it was funny. She was busted for the house in Tennessee. Like, there's a picture of her that's come out, and it's the picture. She said that she never lived in that house that we showed, the one that's on, the one in McKinsey. She never lived in that house, never lived in that house. And then pictures, because the house is up for sale or up for rent or something. There's a picture of her in the house, and you can see it as the house for sale. So you can see that's where she lived. And so she's still saying she never lived there. And then people were calling her out because she likes to call people out on if they have a dated countertop or if they have anything out of place. She will circle it, and she will point out to you where it's like, look at that filth there, look at that there, look at that there. Well, the people, you know, on Twitter gave her back some of her own medicine, did the same thing to her. There was toilet paper rolls by her. There was like, I mean, you know what? I don't care if you've got 1980 curtains, but don't pretend. Yeah, right. Like you have Southern Charm magazine. You know what I mean? So then she tried to say that that was, you know, I don't know, what's his name? Tyrone, her boyfriend, his man cave. So the joke was like, I didn't know men in their men cave are like having these really, follow it on Twitter, follow it on Scope. If you're missing her, she's not anybody. Now she's actually someplace she's trying to say she's on vacation, and she put a porch swing on a photo or something. And, you know, I don't know. I don't know how some of the people in there who are her bigger, I don't mean the people who just hang out there and who are, you know that she's just a crazy bucket of nuts. And you just watch it, but some of the people who really support her, like, I never understood the dishing dirt thing. If I have a friend, because if you would look at dishing dirt's thing, and this is the problem that I had with Lori before, dishing dirt's whole Twitter was nothing but, I mean, I have a thick skin. It was the most vile stuff about Rory and I, going to the nth degree, vile, disgusting. I mean, we filmed it, and it took a long time to get all the filming of what was on her wall. So when your friend on their wall only has completely negative stuff, right? Wouldn't you think that that person's maybe not a good person? Like, I don't know.
Right. Yeah, since you're on that subject,
yes,
that Suzanne Sugarbaker Suze or whatever,
yes,
like the second one that she was. I think Celeste it was that said that, or maybe it was Tushy that said in their Scope that Lindy put my dad's obituary on there because she wanted to prove a date, and that's not what the proof was. She wanted to prove that my dad was married to a woman he wasn't married to. So instead of finding the marriage certificate, she posts his obituary.
Sick.
Yeah, pretty fucking sick.
Sick. And why doesn't, so all those people that are there, why wouldn't they say anything about that? Like, that's just twisted.
Right.
I mean, Lindy straight up said Rory was never sexually assaulted.
She said that she was gonna contact them and give them all of my information.
Yes.
Dirty on me.
Yes.
What I understood was his lawyer quit for a reason because he kept on getting phone calls. So I don't know if that's true or not.
Well,
because I don't talk to his lawyer.
Actually, thank you for that then.
Yeah.
You did me a favor.
So I don't know.
But I mean, it's just a hypocrisy. Like, if you're going to call saying that a rape didn't happen wrong on one, or a sexual assault didn't happen on one side, then call it on both.
While screaming that you had the best rape ever.
So I love, the best rape ever. Exactly. And if people don't like people saying it like that, fuck off.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous.
It was a competition with her.
Here's the thing. If you guys get offended that I say that, let's say all these people that were assaulted came out after they realized what Minnie was doing. Like, I think it was like Corey came out with the story of hers. There were quite a few people that came out and said things like that.
Yeah.
So once they came out, she just had to keep on saying, like, well, you weren't left for dead with your teeth knocked out, even though, like, there's no record of it.
No. And she's changed her story. It was implants, and then it was implants, and then it was veneers, and then it was veneers on the implants. Who's going to put veneers over implants? You're going to pay all that money, and then she put veneers over implants.
Did she really say
yes?
Over implants?
Yes, because she effed up. and she knows she said veneers and she said implants. So she said she put veneers over the implants. Does that make any sense? In any?
Well, if you look at those glamour shots she was doing with her toilet paper roll room, you could tell she doesn't have her teeth in there. So
Oh, yeah.
she has no
Her
contour
mouth
in her
is
lips.
sunken.
Yeah,
Her mouth is sunken.
and that was kind of I can imagine that day was Boris was pressuring her to take an actual picture. She was all frustrated by it. So all those clothes on the room are her trying things on that didn't fit right,
Yep.
throwing them on the floor.
Yep.
Maybe
And she
wiped
settled
her
on
ass
that.
Yeah, maybe she wiped her ass in between, and there was toilet paper rolls everywhere.
But-
Or maybe the toilet paper rolls were from her stuffing her bra.
Ooh, that's probably it.
Maybe that's what it was.
Oh, I'm gonna go with it. I want Boris, if you're listening, if you have, I know that we have the pictures that she sent out as the catfish. Do you have any texts that go along with it? Like, here's me in my, what was that? Like
I actually came across those the other day.
the pictures?
Yeah.
Remember the one that wasn't one of them like a Mother Teresa on the
Yeah, and
underwear?
I reverse image searched it for Boris like the first time.
And it came
we
up
met
black
her.
lingerie or
It
something.
came up to the gate, and it was like an Asian model for like $3.99 lingerie or something.
And
So he asked her, "Can you show me yourself as lingerie?" And literally, when you reverse image search the picture, the title is lingerie. So she must have just typed up lingerie and be like, "Oh, this one looks pretty good."
but I want to see, does he have a text that goes along with her sending like a screenshot of the actual, like there's a picture and I've actually her saying, here's me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he has that.
That would be great. I mean, because she's like that thing. She won't even admit. Like, if it was me, guys, I would say, you know what? I like the guy. I had put some weight on. It was stupid. I was insecure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I did it. It's because you're slapped in the face with the but as stupid as I is saying that you had that farm. I mean, it was so totally easily to prove.
Or remember when like her pictures finally came out and she's like, "Oh, I've lost weight since then. I lost 60 pounds in a month because I had Chicky-Hodo disease." Or whatever the
Yes,
hell it was."
yes. Like, she can't just say, because she's not even that fat. She's like the average size of somebody in America, a little bit bigger.
She's
You know
like
what I mean?
18 or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Size 18.
But
Maybe
see,
bigger.
you guys, that's like, she won't even admit that. When you won't admit that, that's a huge red flag.
And here's the thing, I wouldn't really care about it.
I don't
And
either.
I wouldn't tease her about it or whatever. I'd be like, "Oh, that poor woman, she must hate herself." If she had not gone
Me
to
too.
me or you
Me
on
too.
her weight or
Yep.
other people.
I don't care. It wouldn't
So
even be
you wouldn't-
caring.
Like, how many times have you been accused of having dentures?
Yes, dentures galore.
And then there's a post from what, 2011?
Said that she's got,
She's got dentures, and then we're like, "Hold it." And then we were reading, it's called The Losers of YouTube or something.
yeah,
Or-
losers of YouTube.blogspot.
Yeah. So if you go look at that, this dates back to like 2011.
12.
And everything she was accusing us of, literally they were saying about her
Yeah.
in this thing.
Including her having and that one girl, Trishi Star MUA, whatever that, she
And
does a
remember
YouTube
when we
video.
watched that drama, we had no idea what she was talking about?
No, didn't know that it was,
And now
didn't
we
know it
do.
was Looney.
Now we
Did
do.
not know it was Looney that she's talking about. And Looney making up a group of friends. I guarantee you there's no group with Looney. Remember, we always thought it was a group of
Yeah.
people? It's all Looney.
Yeah,
It's all
when,
loony.
When that Teresa girl was talking about these 7 women and all this other bullshit, it probably was all Lindy.
It was there because
And maybe-
otherwise somebody else would have come out. There was somebody who broke away, so they did, but maybe it was just a smart person
Right.
who busted her on all that stuff.
Right.
That Trishi Star. This is what Looney does then with that, like, whatever her name is now.
Twishy Star.
I talked to her once,
Oh,
and
not,
then
not Twishy Star, the other one.
yeah, not Twishy Star, but Trisha MUA.
Yeah.
So I did talk to her. After that, she wouldn't talk to me again. I'm thinking because I did mention it online. I bet you Looney got back to her, and she told me right away when I talked to her, I befriended her. The same thing that I had to do to get her to stop, and it didn't work. So, love you over here now, Lori, but I see Lori's not. What kind of a person in it that you have to shut somebody up? So Lori's not going to comment. She's not saying anything to me about it. I haven't talked to her in forever, but
Right.
it's because you don't want Lindy Looney on your ass again.
right.
So she's like the mafia shutting people up. It happened with me, and it doesn't work because the minute that you even remember Corey, all Corey did was like a post that somebody said,
Right.
liked a post. So she's following that if you like it, then it's like, oh, the
But on the other hand, she broke the truce with Corey first because she was letting Boris talk mad shit and
Of course.
taking him on to say things.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
And you're going to hide behind the guise of that. Of course.
Yeah.
Behind it, it's somebody else saying it and whatever. But there is no, unless you get offline, there is no truce with her.
Right.
Truce, because you cannot ever be who you are.
And that whole, I mean, she gets into your personal business and puts it everywhere.
She's that crazy stalker who remember every date, every date, everything.
Dude, like
screenshots.
I watched her like, I don't know. I caught up on some of her shit like months ago, and she was like, "Oh, you know, Vegas or Kat or somebody. I mean, like they must be feeling real shitty about themselves because today's the anniversary of this or whatever."
And I'm
like, she said
not even
about
remember
the anniversary of like your dad's death or the anniversary
Yeah.
of like. I mean, I was just like, "Do you have a calendar that you write this shit down in?" Because remember when she used to be nice to you and like
and she did it to be, and so on. When you're on that good side of Lindy doing things like that,
right.
It's like, oh, this is wonderful, until you realize how she is, and it just takes people out there standing up against her.
What was that?
That was me.
Oh,
Making the thing. Loony Lindy fake love story. Exactly. You two. Thank you very much, spoiled, unfiltered honey.
You guys, Kat and I haven't been on. You guys,
Hey, do we have a admin out here that can take care of this, like this stuff? I didn't even see this going on.
Oh, is there no admin on your thing?
Yeah, they are. Yep, Celeste is doing it.
Okay.
Thank you.
And you guys, I just want to let you know that Kat and I haven't been on. Kat's been on briefly on the side chat and everything because we've been on a luxury vacation.
Oh, yes.
Yes, Kat met this really rich man. And
Yes.
took us out to the Riviera.
Oh, yes. We went to the Riviera, and Rory, you know, her and Randy are there too, but Randy lets her have a couple of little boy toys, and he can have a couple little girl toys, you know? We're at the Cannes Film Festival, the French Riviera.
Yeah.
Even though it's not now. No, what will happen is we'll say that, and it's not now. And then but they'll go down to the ship. She is a lot like, I love you, LCD. Some of your stuff is crazy. She's a lot like him.
Right.
Go down with the ship.
Right.
These lies, like she's so busted on that house. You pinned up the window with the floor, with everything. And nope.
Yeah, I think from that bathroom picture that was posted, I think the mirror was in that little corner because the window was right there and you couldn't see past the window. So I think that was the corner of her. You know, she hated our countertops. And
guarantee you.
But yeah,
they had to replace it. They had them replaced.
Right.
You know, and so obviously she probably had that because it was
just seeing the wallpaper in the bathroom.
Oh my God.
Makes me understand what her.
And she lived there all that time and didn't, like, you know, which is fine. Do we care if she was normal?
House. I think it's a nice
There'd be nothing. It's a big house. There's nothing wrong with to be said about it.
But she lied and she said there's not much real estate in Mackenzie. I looked that up. There's like a lot of real estate.
I mean, I wouldn't want to live. That's way too far away from anything.
Yeah.
That would be hell. But normally, that wouldn't be anything bad to say about it.
Right.
But now she's saying that, I've owned a house in Arkansas and a house or wherever, Alabama, Arkansas, and Tennessee. Like she just pulls that from other people. Who else does that sound like who owns 2 houses someplace?
Right.
Or her volunteering at nursing homes, or her doing all this shit that she copies from people.
Right.
She just copies.
Oh, it was great because she didn't start calling you a stalker until the words came out of your mouth.
I know. I called her a stalker and then I became a stalker. Yeah.
And then I was watching.
And you guys, anything you say or do, anything Becca says or does, anything anybody else says or does, the next day it comes back to that.
Right.
She doesn't have an original thought.
Right. I'm waiting for her to show me her Birkin.
Oh, yeah. No. You guys, yeah. I want that Birkin, that navy blue, her navy blue Birkin.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's not going to keep it, though. She's selling it.
I'm selling it.
She's all about the money.
I'm selling it.
She's all about the money.
No, I only pick up luxury bags to resell them.
Kat, tell Rory to check her Twitter DMs and pass it on to Corey. Oh, check your Twitter DMs and pass it on to Corey. Woohoo! Oh, hey, Lori. Yeah, I know. You're Melissa, crazy stalker.
Oh,
Melissa.
An hour to do the rest for this. Yeah.
We'll come back later.
All right. Well, I might sleep because I'm like an old lady.
Rory, now from the studying that she does, goes to bed And she'll message me at like 3 in the morning because she went to bed at like 7. I don't know. What am I exaggerating? You went to bed at 8?
I go to bed around 8. I pass out around 8.
8 o'clock, she goes to bed from just studying her asses off. Isn't it harder for you as you get older? You're not old, but is it harder for you?
It's more like when you're.
Did you think it was going to be easier to get into?
Yeah, because you forget all that math and shit. So
and that like makes your head hurt.
You have to remember the process.
The formula for it.
If you're going into like calculus or something, like you have to, and you're like, oh yeah, I know how to do this, this, and this, right? But then you forget certain things that are basic steps to calculus or whatever it is, and you have to go back and review it.
Ah,
yeah.
I would think about if I had to write a paper too. I would be like it's texting, LOL. I'd be putting all this stupid texting shit in there.
Right.
All these abbreviations like I'm texting. Like,
no,
and you get lazy.
But the one thing that I do think to myself is if I just would have done this like right out of high school, it would have been so much easier because I already did the SATs. I was studying for the SATs, so I had to get that done.
And it was all fresh in your head.
Yeah.
But then picture it like another 20 years removed, and then it's like really like I can't even. I mean, just trying to like learn
daily life. I mean, who doesn't go to their phone to?
But you have a way of like single focusing on things, like shutting things out and focusing on something.
Right.
You have that way of doing that.
Yeah, I have tunnel vision when I'm doing.
Yeah, the tunnel vision.
I have to schedule it in. If I'm doing it at the wrong time with the schedule, I'm like, fuck it until it's.
But that keeps you young. When did your mom go back to school for hers?
She's been in school since I was born.
But so she wasn't out for a while? So she was always
she
in?
had multiple degrees. I mean, like she just would like go and get this or that or like she's
like you.
Yeah, well, she stopped for a little bit until I was like, my brother was born. And then I guess 89, she went back and then she continued to take classes. So, and then she stopped in, I think I want to say like 2011 or 12, maybe. I don't know, her last degree she got was like, then she was done.
See, like now, like, so you guys got it the whole time. I didn't get it, how cool it was. More education was cool until I got into my 30s. Like I knew that it was something that I had to do, but
right.
Not pursuing it after college, not pursuing it even more. Now I think it's like, if you would rather be like gorgeously beautiful or like have all these great degrees or have a master. Like Becca, if you're still in here having like a master,
right?
God, that would be cool. That to me is like, I don't know, like win a beauty pageant or have a master.
And some people just do it out of boredom. I mean,
I
like
know.
my mom didn't have to work or anything when she was with my dad.
But that's how you would be. Because you got that, you're studious like that.
I got all those degrees. That's kind of why I got all those degrees before when I was with my asshole husband.
But that you were kind of, it was cool too because you were kind of collecting them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I have one in the different fields, you know.
Yeah.
So,
which is good because it actually makes you know a lot of different things about a lot of different areas.
Right.
That does randomly come up, like organization and all this crazy shit that comes up.
But yeah, the only time I want to go to school now, because before I was just like, oh, let's
now you want the money
thing. Get a degree in this, you know.
Now you want the money part of it if it makes
now
money.
Now it's like, okay, well, I got to put in another 3 to 4 years to get a law degree, so why not? You know what I mean?
But it's cool because on the way, you're paralegal on the way.
Right.
So it's kind of like if I want to stop here and I don't want to go on, if I'm comfortable.
You want to hear something crazy?
Yes.
In California, if you are you don't even have to go to law school for this, but if you were with a lawyer and you were apprenticing with a lawyer.
Don't say it.
For 2 years.
You're a lawyer?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Then you could take the bar and become a lawyer?
No, yeah. Well, I'm not a lawyer, but yeah, if you're with them for 2 years, you can go take the bar and you can practice law in California.
But that's kind of like with what's it called? Like in a lot of states where it's like if you are a nurse practitioner, because in Arizona, they can give medicine, they're all whatever. In some states, they're not, they still can, but it's not the same. You got to have a doctor sign off on it.
Yeah.
But in some states, it is like, so it's kind of like the same thing because nurse practitioner is on the way, like isn't it a couple years off to becoming a doctor or something? I don't know. You know what I mean? So it's like, is that the same thing to where you're not like the level of a lawyer, but you can practice? Could you hear a court case?
Because nurse practitioners have to go through some sort of medical school, like literally.
Well, yours doesn't. What state is that?
California only. Isn't that crazy?
That's cool.
That's like, I'm afraid of California lawyers now.
I
Like,
know.
how long did they go to school?
But look at, they always talk about how many they have there. No wonder.
Oh, and they're the only ones that they're accept online degrees for.
I always wondered about that. These people in prison who become like a lawyer, how is that accredited? How is it like?
Not online. You can't do it online.
So what are they actually getting then? What is that they're getting?
Probably, what is it? God, there's two types. There's the one where you can represent in court and one that you can't. But it's a judicial. God, I can't remember.
See, if it was interesting to me, like once you get into all that stuff of like case files and you're actually doing stuff that's not that, then it would be get fun.
Speaking of case files, one of my mom's degrees is forensic science. Can you believe that?
What the hell?
She's not like, you wouldn't think that she'd be like interested in looking
your
at
mom
dead bodies and shit.
No, she's like so
science.
sweet and nice and
yeah. No, but you said case files or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And I was thinking of like cold case and shit, but forensic, yeah.
That's cool.
Science.
That's totally cool.
So she had to go for quite a few years.
Corey, if you listen to this, I love you, girl. You know I love you. But it was really fun. I didn't even hear the whole thing listening to Corey and your mom.
Oh.
I didn't get to, because that one came down. That hangout came down. So they must have been going. But it was fun because it was like, poor Corey, because I stay out of politics now.
I'm like, Mom, we're not here to talk about politics at all.
And then your mom, who doesn't get the online protocol like that,
right? Because
it's like normal life. You wouldn't have to kind of like tone it down. You wouldn't have to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you don't get like, no, this is a friend. We like each other.
I think I told him, like, she hates Trump. Why are you talking to her?
Oh God. Oh, it's much nicer though on Twitter, not arguing politics for me, because it's just,
I just stay out of it.
Because we have like friends that I like, and I don't want to
get in a political conversation with someone and then you realize that the person that was talking to you literally just heard it from the internet.
Yes.
Like,
because you're like listening, going, yeah, exactly. And they're parroting it back to you what they said they heard.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that's Corey. I'm just saying, like, the last people that I had a conversation about politics with, I just knew that they were just hearing whatever was all over Twitter or something.
And that blanket statement, like, like something stupid, like believing, just like Trump gives golden showers to people and whatever. And it's like, okay, if he does, he does. If he doesn't, he doesn't. And your point.
This whole reality series about finding the golden shower tape.
Were they?
Yeah, and there were quite a few. Look it up when you're out. But there were quite a few big time celebrities that were like involved in this documentary of finding the golden shower tape.
Ooh.
But
you see, when they cry wolf so much, like the whole, you know what I mean? It's like they're crying like this collusion with Russia and all this stuff. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I think everybody's, worked with Russia probably at some point. I don't know. But it's like you cried wolf too many times.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, we're making your chat boring.
We are. Oh my God, they're all going, oh, they're down to only, that's like, you guys.
We're boring.
Celeste said she did a rotation in school working with the coroner in Florida and you loved it. Oh, that would be horrible, Celeste. A coroner. Oh, I watched that story once on, I think it was HBO, and they were in the LA coroner. Oh my God. I could see how if you're like the nurse and you can think of the human body like the human body, I think once you got that education behind you, you would need that to see it differently. Because to me, all I'm seeing is like, oh my God, then if you saw a kid that come in, that would have to be hard. Yeah, that would. Hey, Sister Earth. Yeah, not the kids. Yeah, there you go. Little girl dragged out by a gator. Oh, it was drunk. Yeah. Yeah. The kid, when I saw that on there, it just tough. But yeah, but the LA, that documentary I saw was really pretty interesting to watch that on there. What else was I going to say? Oh, I wondered if you guys heard about this. I don't know if you follow it. Katie, Miss Effing Wonderful, right? She got really angry, I guess, at Brian St. John for going after her about her excess skin on her arms. And I guess that's part of her body dysmorphia. It's part that she's really sensitive about. But I was just kind of shocked that she went so balls to the wall, angry about it. However, Katie, you're going to listen to this, and you're not going to like it because of what I said before. I have a feeling we're going to get a GoFundMe pretty soon for Katie's loose skin. I have a feeling that that's going to come up, number one. Then I saw a post that you did, Katie, of showing Wen Wen, and Wen Wen had met Rich Lux, and she's a juicy, heavier gal like some of us are, and you totally body shamed her. And I've had weight loss surgery. And I will tell you that weight loss surgery is, we do nothing special with it. We don't do anything special to have weight loss surgery. So for the people who say it's like really hard, it's really difficult and whatever, yeah, if you work it later on, because, if you work it and do it how you're supposed to do it, because your stomach will stretch out, the sleeve will stretch out. But I have a feeling that she'll be one person who will be like I did and didn't. Although my surgery was technically successful because I was 500 pounds, like 480. And then I had a revision. It took me down to 220. And then I went back up to like 320. And I sat there, but that was still 180 off from my big weight. Then the revision has taken me from 320 to, I went down even lower again, but now I'm at 360 or 360, 260, and I stay there. It should be enough for me to have as an aid to where I will eat right. But if you don't fix that, you will find your way to get calories in. And all that I'm saying is that I just think it's not I don't care what people get weight loss surgery. Of course, I'm totally for it. It saves your life. If you have somebody like Amber Lynn Reed. Amber Lynn Reed will never lose weight unless she does weight loss surgery. And I so see myself in her at that age that she's just wasting years right now, but she has to come to it on her own. But she will have it and she will lose weight. But when you're that morbidly, deathly obese like that, there is no other way to stop you. You have to have that kind of stop. Hey, Ginger. Oh my God, the grandbabies. Yay. I'd love to see a picture. Woohoo, there's Rory. She's already crying for you, Rory. He's crying. So I think that Katie, I'm just, this is social media and you say things about people all the time. And I think it's pretty shitty that you try to say that about Wen Wen when the only thing different is that you've had weight loss surgery. If Wen Wen had weight loss surgery, she would be a lot thinner than you and she wouldn't have the excess skin. She wouldn't have the excess skin because she was not as heavy as you were. And that's all. I just don't like it that you did that. And I'm just saying it like it is, guys, now. See, I'm going to have to learn that filter, too. The filter I do have, because there's some things you don't have to say, but this is just stuff that I've been thinking about that I've thought, that I don't really care now. Diane and I don't really follow these people a lot or what their channels are about. I don't. Because it's too much stuff. But Diane and Wendy are one channel that I think is the most trustworthy. And Mallory, if she talked about that kind of stuff. I think that they are a very trustworthy channel. Oh, Beth, let's talk about Beth. See, Dying Dave, I don't know this about. I don't keep I don't keep a calendar of knowing when her mother passed away. She's got a picture of my father in a hospital bed because that troll name has changed from the other ones that she's had. So Looney has a picture of my father in his hospice bed, and she calls it like Jerry Schmelly or something like that. So yeah, I really don't care, Dying Dave. I really don't care. Nor do I remember dates like that. And who knows if her mother actually died now, because the woman, when she opens her mouth, she lies. And I fear nothing anymore that you're going to do to me, Lindy, because mentally in my head, I'm back to where I want to be with nothing in my account. This is not because I have money, because right now I'm holding on. I have no money. So there is a super chat there, guys, if you'd like to, or I have my PayPal out there. I'm begging. Okay, guys. But I'm just saying that you've done shitty things to people, and I don't treat online like I do in real life anymore. I came on here thinking that everybody's going to have the same sort of a head. It doesn't mean I'm going to go all hog wild and be a total bitch to people, but I really don't care. I really turn it off. There's absolutely nothing that you can do to me. Absolutely nothing. So exactly, Celeste, thank you. My birthday. And she did all this stuff. So I just don't care. But knowing me, if I would have actually known that, I probably would have had a heart and not done that, because I actually can have feelings for a person. She, on the other hand, would, because I spoke to Dave, go on a diatribe for months long and read every little detail of a divorce record. And people, that was to me a litmus test. If you were in there and cheered that on, you're the biggest piece of shit. And if karma were true, and karma does not work that way, and I love that Celeste explained that earlier in another time, because it's always what I've thought. What does that mean about the little children who get killed earlier? Like, or what does it mean about whatever, that they've done something bad, or like their parents in a prior life, whatever? No, bullshit. Bad shit happens to good people all the time. Bad shit happens to bad people. It's just life. Anyway, what else was I going to say? What was I saying about that? I have not tried to actually strike out. A few people have told me to go for strikes on Looney's channel, because what she's doing is really, I mean, all of her videos that have now been uploaded, there is something wrong in terms of endearment, terms of service, under having, not all of them, but a bunch of them. Like even one, she's completely just putting my stream on there. So right now I don't feel like I want to go out and take the time and long form everything, but you never know, Looney. Maybe I'll get bored one day and I'll just want to do that. I do know that well, I'll keep that to myself. Exactly. Hey, Crystal. Hey, she didn't read anything that defended you or made sense of the story. Exactly, Rory. Exactly. And we did put out papers on there. Those weren't read. There is papers. I mean, there was papers on there from my side. It was never read, which is, it's just, I don't know. It was very, I don't even care that it happened, because it was like, I don't know. I learned a lot. I chose to take a lot of life lessons from that. And the biggest thing right now is just, anyways, don't go on. Ooh. Read the divorce record selectively. It is obsessively weird. And she's been that way the whole time. And like I said, even with this, like the Katie stuff, or the One Wen stuff, or who are some of the other people out there? The Laura Keck, who are the other people? Tucker, I don't know, people who stream. I can see when I watch any of those people that it's like I see watching Diane's channel, that they do, people like the drama, and they do find a way to kind of keep it going, but we're entertained by that. So I'm just saying, I find, when you can sit back and look at things, you can find kind of fault all the way around. With Looney, I would love to speak to her in an open room, in an open chat, to where she can't just scream over me and talk about all this stuff, because she would lose. she would lose. Like, I would love to openly speak to her on all this stuff, because I'm not hiding anything. I'm me, warts and all, with anything that I've done or didn't do or whatever. She's still steadfastly holding on to the story that I don't really know when her story, because it is changed, and she's hoping that people have, that her rewriting of history holds up, because she does have it, where she came in July of 2015, or January 1st of 16. And she's hoping that most people aren't really going to pay attention. Most people are going to come on and just listen to this foul-mouthed, ignorant. It was funny. I heard Hipster Heaven say, when she was listening to Mama Beth's World, that she was listening to Dueling Banjos. And I have a screenshot of that. I don't screenshot most stuff, but I thought it was so ironic. Would you say the same thing about Looney? Would you say the same thing, Hipster Heaven, or are you going to be a hypocrite? If you hear Dueling Banjos when you are listening to Mama Beth, have a little mini rant or anything like that, would you say the same thing about Looney? And if you say no, I don't know. I don't know. But Mama Beth, when I was listening to Mallory say that she's like, watched and tried some of the things that, Mama Beth has done, and she'll say, like the trolling, and she uses her daughter's account, or not her daughter's account, her daughter's pictures were at the bottom of it or something, and you're like, oh my God, girl, you got busted. Yikes. That stuff is just kind of like, that stuff is just, I guess, part of, bottom of YouTube or YouTube or whatever. But to try to listen and try to find real fault in the stuff that Beth has done, to me, I really enjoy listening to Beth. I do. I like her extraness. I like her over the top. I listen to her speak to Mallory. She can completely admit her faults. Whether or not she's whatever she is, I just like, listening to her. I just think she's just really fun. Have a good day, Michelle. Yes, we will. Yep. Yep, I agree, sister. A nasty, ugly human. Here is Life Happens, Judy. Here is a painting the everything with a big wide brush. Why don't you stay out of the drama community? Because they do not want you. Now that sounds like something, a loony type sentence. They don't want you. Now you speak for everybody in the drama community, or why wouldn't you see this whole community thing? It's a forum of people. That's why I laughed about saying Boyd doesn't want you, or you're kicked out of here. What does that mean, actually? What does that actually mean? That for a little while, I guarantee you, I guarantee you, I could come back next month. I could talk to the people, network behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, give information out with this, help people with this, kiss ass on this side, listen on this side, whatever, and I would be beloved again, just like anybody else could do. It's not hard. 1 week you're hated, 1 week you're liked. 1 week you're whatever, 1 week you're not. It's not that hard. This is not real life. This is not real life. The drama community does not want you. That just sounds like you're 12. That just sounds like you're 12. Life Happens, Judy. And you know me. You know me, Judy, huh? You know in my life exactly. That's such an ignorant comment. I'm glad you're here, though, because that just makes my point. When I hear people say that about people and they don't even know them, like they don't even know them. Just like when I was saying I was believing, like getting back to the RV Davies stuff. Now, that's a bad example, but so much of what I heard in the very beginning wasn't true. Like hearing that he was trying to hit on Donnie, who was there, and all this stuff, and when you already have something bad about a person, you already have something that you see and you don't like it yourself. It's so easy to believe the rest of it. It's much harder to critically think and to, like, Life with Judy. I've never, unless you're under a different name or whatever, I don't even know if you have a channel. I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. If you don't like me, I don't know why you're subscribed to me. I don't know if you're real. I don't know if you're a troll. You have a picture there, so it seems like it's a real channel. You know, exactly. Hey, Viv, exactly. They believe that there are doors into these communities. Like there's like you just like there's a welcoming party and you have your card and you're welcomed into these. It's so asinine. And it's not anything that I didn't somewhat do myself in the past. But trust me, anybody out there, the smartest people are the lurkers. Like I have a few, 3 or 4 friends that I know for a fact watch all of these, and they know all, and it surprised me because I needed a Nina video. I needed an old Nina hangout. This was from back in the day. And this is a woman that I know. I talked to on our videos back and forth. But when she messaged me and said, I have that hangout, do you want it? And I'm like, what are you doing over here? How do you even know about this? It was crazy. Then finding out that there was people in this other group that I know, and they're just there and they're just watching. They have the best perspective on things because they're not involved in it. And when you're not so close to the fire and you can watch it, it's just eye-opening. And you could come back to it. Like if you're a major player, go lurk for a few weeks and then come back, and you hopefully would learn something from that by how everything looks and how silly you look. Just like Carlos. I mean, Carlos, you know, I'm going to take seriously the person who comes into each room and puts NIGG, you know, you'll finish the thing out in every hangout, or who will troll you with things, or who will be kicked out and come back with multiple names. And I'm supposed to take it seriously that I'm now going to get trolled and trolled hard. That's why it's really hard to think of these older men who do it too. Like even Brad Silverdog. I know he's got a nice home, a nice life. And to me, he's just way too close to the fire. I thought Jack Sparrow left too. Didn't Jack Sparrow like dramatically leave again? Goodbye, I'm gone. And then the next day he was back for, you know, 50 uploads, and he's totally back. And I mean, it's funny. If you come into it thinking about how funny it all is, how it doesn't really matter, that it's very entertaining, and it's much more healthy to think of it all as a big joke. And if you've got friends along the way, you talk to them privately. It's not like you're not going to get real good friends out of it, because I have. And you talk to them privately, or you think of them. It's just different, you know, and you guys agree on things. Like, you know, for the most part, this stuff is just silliness, or it's just, you know, craziness. Yeah, he always comes back and leaves. Yeah, exactly. The drama community is about drama. They will take anything or anyone, and the flavor changes hourly. They really are. They really, really are. They do. I see they want it passed back and forth. Now, what's happened with Pam and Rick, the porch people? I heard supposedly they had a gun. See, even if I like Pam and Rick, I don't believe that. I don't believe anybody came to their door with a gun. Doesn't mean I don't like them. I just think it's part of the thing. Does anybody in here believe that somebody came to their door with a gun? I just don't believe that. Or maybe they didn't actually say it and a troll said it. That could be true too. Exactly, Crystal. Yeah, just click the X. JK, you are one person who, the one time I saw you take it really serious was when it was brought to your front door. And you know what I'm talking about, what happened. And I won't even bring it up again. That's the one time. Other than that, you're just like, and if people have the attitude of like a JK, where it's really, when he used to come into the rooms and say, fuck them all, fuck them all, fuck them all. I liked hearing it, but I didn't really get it. I got it in theory, but I didn't kind of like own it. And then it hasn't been until recently when I hear myself saying, I'll say it to Rory in a text, fuck them all. Like, fuck them all. Like, they want to act like anybody who gives to Elvis. You're going to have to be, you have just, and I love Colleen Aloha. She's great. But we did that same stuff. Colleen Aloha, what you're doing is not new. We did that stuff 2 summers ago. Following him around, had the whole bok. The whole thing was, you know, we would play it wherever we were getting chased, whatever. So I don't begrudge the new group of people who need to be over there for that. But if you're still over in the Elvis stuff and you haven't grown tired of it in a couple of years, doesn't mean you have to like them, but you haven't grown tired of it. Like I went into Rosie's the other day and I said something like, maybe I'll help Elvis, give him whatever. And the chat just goes wild. The chat just goes wild. The chat just really goes wild. And then it was like Bergs the other day was throwing one of his tantrums. You know, he literally throws a tantrum. And I had bought a couple of shirts from him, you know, to be a Bergette. And we got the Bergs and what is his name? Melton John for President 2020. And he was like doing one of those things again, his nightly thing where he said he's going to leave and never come back. So boy, did I hear it when I gave him $10. And that night, it was really just to make people laugh. It was like, come on, the guy is on here literally throwing a fit. Literally throwing a fit. Come on. Did she, Debbie? So she really did. I mean, you have a sweet voice and I have heard you, but I don't know if that's even true there either. Not because I wouldn't believe anybody unless I saw it myself, you know? Right. Logical reasoning is not allowed on social media. It did happen. Well, I hope that they called the police for somebody to go that level. Not that I think it couldn't happen, because I do think that will happen. I do think that this has gone too far. I think the people like the Katies of this world, like the, what is her name? Susie Beth, Shawanda, Shaniqua, Solomon, what is her name? She's got like kids and she's got a couple of them that are in prison and she was really happy that only a couple of them went to prison. I can't remember, but she's so loudmouthed and she just says the most vile things. It's people that are really just out there like, you know, doing all that stuff that will incite people onto doing this stuff too. What is her name? She was gone for a long time. And I think her last name is something like the Tefal. You know what I'm talking about? Tefal. Shaniqua Tefal. Chandra Tefal. I really can't remember. He does too, Jesse. He has you as an admin. And you know what? Like I have, when you like listen, Jesse, to him when he's like being normal, isn't he quite enjoyable? Isn't he quite enjoyable when he's normal? When he's normal, you know, I don't know how his parents take that though. And you know what? I'm surprised. I saw in a live stream that somebody said this and they didn't do it. Berg, if you listen to this, be careful of this. The trolls know what your name is. They know what your address is. And if you were that drunk sitting in your car, you guys know where I'm going with this? What they said that they were going to do and it didn't happen. You know what you can be charged with. You can be charged with drunken driving for being that drunk, just sitting in your car. He did? Oh, God, Jesse. Well, I like you even more then. Crystal, he was 10 minutes from my office for a week, and who cares? Energy to talk about. Exactly. The cops probably told them to get offline. They've ghosted since then. You know what, JK? That actually makes sense because they really did leave. That probably, you're right, JK, and you're right, Debbie. That is the story that I could actually believe. Maybe that really should be a wake-up call and a lesson to some people. What, Sister Earth? It doesn't have to be in the ignition here. They just have to believe that they have to believe, and it's all up to them, that you either were going to drive or were driving or whatever. It doesn't have to be in the ignition even. That's what I thought was crazy, because other places it does. Here, I know in Nevada, I don't know about other, and I like argued that point with somebody, like thinking it has to be in the ignition, whatever, and it wasn't even true. I don't know how it is about him, but just, dude, I don't know how his neighbors take it either, where, but I guess I'm a worrywart. I don't know how his neighbors take his screaming like that, because his windows are open and he's screaming in that nice neighborhood. I know, and I don't know if they've just upped the rules, Sister Earth, or if it's just selective. I know that each state governs their own self, but I don't know if it's just selective states do have it. I'd like to know, because remember when Rosie was in hers and she took the keys and threw them out in the back seat, and then people did look it up online and saw that it didn't matter. They have to believe that you had the intention of driving or had driven. They just have to, and if they don't like you, and I could see if cops come up to him, how he would act. Just, dude, it's not worth it. I don't want to see that happen to Berg. I don't want to see that happen to him, because that's, if he thinks he's got problems now involving somebody else in your problems, the police get involved like that, it's not worth it. I know his parents. I know his dad's 90, a Korean war vet. I do wish that Berg would get help. There's a few people on here that I wish would get help. Berg is one of them, because we know that. I don't know Jill. I like Jill a lot. I don't know if Jill just comes on here when she's drinking, so we don't hear her all the time. So she maybe she's just on here drinking. That's not a problem. And she's not like a mean drunk like person. He's on here every night and he's just mean. I've never met anybody like him, like that. Like, it really is more of a tantrum, but scary. The way that it's not, like the way that he was talking to Jill, and about ruining the sunglasses. He is, isn't he, Jesse? When he's in a good mood and when he's playing and when he actually takes, requests like that, and it can be fun. And, but then he at that time. And so they want to be live. Why are they going live? I have to be live. And, with some people, and then you add booze on top of it, it's just going to even trigger it more. He turns very angry and very abusive. Yeah, very much so. There was something else I was going to say too. Hold on, I'm going to take a sip of this. What else was I doing? I watched Bachelor in Paradise. Okay, guys, I watched The Bachelor. I don't know why I did this to myself, because I don't want to be in love, and I don't want to ever have that to be hurt again. And I'm not just saying that to have people say, oh no, I really don't, but I like watching it. I love other people's love stories. Like when I'm like this right now, I love to see hearing other people's love stories, like how long Celeste and her husband, who have made it through all of these years together, Corey and her husband, Rory and her husband, not as long or anything as you guys have, but just the stories like that. So I'm watching The Bachelor, and I watched the last one. I haven't watched it for the past 5 seasons. I was going to watch Ari's season just because I think he sounds like that race car driver. He sounds nice. What season? And do you guys like if people who watch The Bachelor, do you watch The Bachelorette or The Bachelor more? I thought I'd want to watch The Bachelor because I think than getting a bunch of guys. I don't even want to watch it I like to watch it like to see how catty the women get to each other. So which season of The Bachelor, or The Bachelorette was your favorite? Because I want to see like if there's any more good shows. I like those stupid reality shows. So I watched Bachelor in Paradise. And they all have to be, a size 00. I swear. Completely 00. What have I seen too? They're knocking Truthfully Trish for her pancake butt. Whether you like Truthfully Trish or not, doesn't she look great? She looks great. Hey, she's lost like a lot of weight. She's very much inspirational for losing that much weight. Mallory. I wish Mallory never had to take a break and was on every night, because and it's not even just because I like her. You see how she was, how the people on panel don't have to all agree. When I watch somebody else, like, I don't want to say Tucker again. Tucker, I want to say this too, Tucker, if you listen to this. Thank you for seemingly, from what I've seen, you've really backed off and dropped the trans thing from what I've seen, and you don't call that boat manatee. And I think that should be acknowledged. That and I think you had at one point said, you wanted to go back to old school style. People like talking about drama. So it's not just that at all, like I'm talking about it right now. But I think that should be talked about too, that we can talk about drama maybe without it going to extremes like that anymore. Not because that was extreme of necessarily, but just the amount of back and forth on all sides with everything. Let Looney do her stuff. Looney thinks she's hiding over on Scope though now. So Looney thinks that I don't know, maybe it's med time. Hey Diane, all of them are good. What I don't like is that sometimes I think in the Ari season, I don't know who he picked. Like the last season, I got a little glimpse. Like I loved watching the Colton season, like in the drama at the end of that. But the other ones all kind of have gotten a little Twitter feed, or that they're not with somebody else. Is there any other good reality shows out there? What reality shows do you guys like to watch? Because those are fun for me. And you guys, if you were to move, would you go for a bigger house? Say it's just you and your husband, or you and yourself, or whatever. Not kids, because kids, you need room. Would you rather go location, or would you rather go bigger house? Because I'm still torn with that. And next time I come on, I'm going to have to show you a picture of my little circus car that I want to get, that I can drive around and chooch around in that. Rosie, whatever she's doing is working for business, because her streams have been they like it. Whether I don't watch it that much, I guess, because the van rebuild thing is just not entertaining for me. I don't have any want to do any of that kind of stuff, so I don't watch it. I'm trying to think of who else I watch. Bachelor in Paradise was okay this past season. Yeah. Diane, yeah. Tiny house, great location. Yes, Lori. Yes. I've always been, you get so tempted, because for the same money of where I could go, it's like, but I know I always am saying that I'm going to have to go further out to shop at the places you want to go to, or, and these house values will, raise, and I want to make sure I keep the association fees. because that's what I'll have to pay for. I'll have to pay for the association and the bills. So that's a huge, I'm blessed. I am blessed. I will be blessed to not have to have a mortgage payment or a rent, and just have to make enough money to come up with the association payment and then the bills. And that's always what my dad wanted for me anyway. He always said that to me. Actually, he said that to me before. He said, dear, you know, because he wanted to make sure, like, as I got older or something, that I would have something that I would only need, because he knows that I didn't have kids, or, you know, who knows, maybe he knew this was going to happen, who knows. But you get such security that way. Same size home, but in the mountains. You know what? If Diane, if I was with somebody, like a man, because I'm just not good at that stuff, me, you know, that I want to make sure the location that I get, that I at least have green out my windows. I don't want to see like green, especially in Arizona, which is hard to find, but green, or in these places that I have, at least they look out onto a golf course, or they look out onto, like, you know, they call them a green belt, like a grassy area or something, to get some nature or to get some parks close by, because that really, I love the mountains. I love that kind of stuff. I loved Grizzly Adams. You guys remember that? Remember Grizzly Adams? Yes, but Laura, you have all the family though too. Yep. With you, it makes sense, because if I was in the position Lori's in, because you're going to be welcoming grandchildren, Baruch Hashem, and you're going to be welcoming, you know, you have a different life, and that's beautiful. Remember Grizzly Adams, guys? You'd never live in an HOA. Fun in the Sun, you know, it's so hard to get away from unless you do move. Because even the places that have even a house anywhere in Scottsdale or anywhere in certain areas, they all have somewhat of an association fee, even if it's just for the, I know, they're a pain in the ass. I'm making sure I do my due diligence and ask if they're, you know, like last time in Florida, who would have known? Like, if I would have a $48,000, no, was it 48, 38 plus the, I don't know what was it, 40, I can't even remember right now, 40, I don't remember. That big, huge special assessment that I had that came on, remember that, guys? Which is the reason why the condo in Florida, I have to pay all this at the end of it. I don't know what I would do. So wherever I'm checking now, I'm checking to make sure that, you know, roofs have been done recently or something, because could you imagine these people had to come up with that amount of money to, that's scary. You're right, Fun in the Sun, that part is scary. There's, you know, I just know for my lifestyle, I want a place where there's little nice restaurants, little nice cafes nearby. I want to have a place where I can meet friends for, you know, a glass of wine and on the patio. Just, you know, have I'm embarking on a whole new life. And I think I just feel, you know, I feel safer, comfortable, and I know the area, and I really want to be, I need to be close to a synagogue. I need to be. And I loved Panama City Beach, but I know that the people that are moving my stuff, I know that they're not going to know that. In fact, I'm going to have to leave them messages to take the mezuzahs off the door. Like, the people there, not one person there would know what a mezuzah on the door is. I want to be, that's why it was so nice being in Israel, because you go to Israel and in December, and the whole malls are filled with everything Hanukkah. The whole malls are one big menorah. And where you would have a Christmas tree, it's, they have it, of course, because we're having, you know, this is Jesus, the holy city. They have it, but it's very much the minority. So their little, you know, nativity scene or something is much smaller. And then you have like menorahs, like in every restaurant or every apartment building or any business. I know now when you go into a business, if it's like Jew owned, because they'll have a mezuzah on the door. Mezuzah is just a little, looks like a little box, and it's facing out towards Jerusalem. It's supposed to be, and it's got a little prayer in it, and you touch it as you before you enter and into the home. It's like a blessing type of a thing, and it's kind of handwritten in Hebrew. And so if you see those on a door, like I know Jehovah's Witnesses, my ex told me that they knew to look for mezuzahs on the door because they knew if a Jew lived there that was going to be a real tough sell. And they may not buy this one. Hey, well, welcome back. I don't know, do I have you as a wrench on one, or do I not have you as a wrench on the other? I do. Okay, good. Okay. So I wish I could get like girls together for seriously a girls trip. I wish like a group of us would think of something that would be fun, like a little mini cruise. Like Rory was mentioning, like a booze cruise or something. It would be kind of fun. But just something, some little trip that we could all go on. I think that would be so fun. The people that I really like out of all this, there's quite a few people that are like just stars of just, you really got me through tough times, And Lori, you're one of them. You really did. I'll never, ever, 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 ever forget what you did, Lori. Not just the delivering of the dinner, but every little part of just messages, or you just never faltered, and you were amazing. And Melissa truly missed out in losing you as a friend. And she, we should have somebody should do a video on all the people who have faked their deaths. Wouldn't that be interesting? Just thought about that. The people who have faked their deaths or faked cancer on YouTube. That would be interesting, because we could now add Melissa to that list of people who have done that and have gone to the extreme as buying is it the template she bought for the prescription bottle or something to go to that extent? It's crazy, guys. And then, you know what? We all lived through it, and we all can like look back and laugh about it. Hey, Nikki, welcome, honey. Welcome. We can all like look back and laugh at some of the crazy stuff. You know what? I was thinking too, I think Mallory is going to be one of the people next I truly see who hit it big. I have a feeling about certain people. I had a feeling about Nick, which is easy, right? Lori, I mean, because he had it all built in. I knew that he was operating, and I'm sure, I know Lori did, I know a lot of people did, that he was operating under his ability and that he was screaming for it. Another person I knew was Black Bigot. Black Bigot, if you have watched him now, did you watch Black Bigot, to where he had a viral video out about getting a 40-year-old getting fired from Popeyes that went like 1 million views like very quickly, and now he grew overnight from I think maybe 10,000 to 61,000 literally in a couple of weeks, and all of his videos now are huge. So he is I know he's talked about this publicly. I remember I used to follow him back in the day, even before knowing D-Dub, because he was cute. He's, Black and Jewish. I mean, that's like perfect, right? I just saying. And I just thought he was funny. His name was like Black Bigot. It's kind of, funny. And just his views on some stuff I thought were so spot on. But I know he lost his channel a few times. Like he did stuff really bad and lost it. So I think he had to have somebody, he said this publicly, so it's not anything private. He had to have somebody else open a channel for him. So I hope now that but he doesn't have Super Chat on. So that million view video should have made him a lot of money. I don't know if he's monetized, if somebody else is, I don't know. Anyways, the point is that he made it really huge, and he's one person that I knew would, because he's something extra. He's got that look. He's got a great personality, and the way he says it, and he's smart in how he speaks. So I knew Nick would, I knew Black Bigot would. The other person I know, I have a feeling will, is Mallory. I have a feeling Mallory will, and it'll be like the Wendy Williams things. And she knows, and Lori, I'm not saying that because you're here, truly. I wouldn't have said this about you, but when I was mentioning those people, but now seeing your ability along with your voice and your topic, that it makes sense to me that you have really, blown up with your coloring one, because you just have that character voice for it, the character hands with the nails and the same color on the nails. You have the gecko, you have the shtick, you have you have your editing that you do without going crazy on it. I see you put out your videos at the same time. I see, so you are one of them who I see even growing even bigger. And I'm trying to think of anybody else I saw on here. It did? So I needed to talk to you, Rubber? Is this even you? I always need to talk to you, Brandon. Always. Always. You know that. How are you been doing, Brandon? Has life been treating you good? I've been on for 2 hours and 21 minutes, saying nothing, basically. Just talking. My little Moshi's by my side. I'm thinking of Moshi really likes a playmate. I know, you see, this is me, thinking of something, a reason to buy something. But Moshi needs a playmate. And I had a girl Maltese before, Delilah. And I had a boy Bichon, Noah. So I'm thinking of getting a girl Bichon. And they could be friends. And they're both hyperallergenic, because he really gets bored. Like when I have Rory's Snowball over here, he plays and plays and plays, and he's a little boy. And it's just fun. Well, I think, let's see, who else do I think? What do you guys think? Who else do you think has the ability to blow up? I know people would put out there Rosie. And the only reason I'm saying no with Rosie, and I think that she's gonna get even bigger, but I'm saying blow up. Like really, I see Mallory blowing up. I see it being like an overnight thing. Rosie has worked her way up there, her ass off. It's not like other people haven't, but she's like or gain. I'm trying to think of other people who, what I want to learn? I don't need to talk to you, Brandon. Brandon, you should call me on the phone. Send me an email so I can give my number, because I would like to talk to you on the phone. The program for live streaming with panels. Should I buy StreamYard, the one like that? Is there a better one to buy? And guys, Brandon, can you teach me this? I want to have a background. Like when I get my new setup, either I'll use the dining room where I'm going to be at. If I don't have extra rooms, I will turn the dining room into a filming room. And I want to have it set up to where it's like one of those old school microphones that I have. And I want to have the background, and I want to have, but I can learn this stuff. It's not like I'm, technically an idiot. I just haven't put myself into it. But is there a better, like the program, but the programs that Tucker uses and Vinny uses are great, but they're just really, I wouldn't be able to be that into it. Like Laura Keck uses a good program. I don't want to have all the, because a lot of the time all those bells and whistles are way too busy, like putting all the, what people have given as far as money goes, blah, blah, blah. That's like way too much for me. Brandon, Coates 9,500. That poor guy. I don't know. Coates, what you say about how wrong you are about Rosie. You are wrong. And if I can be ever critical, so I'm that, to me, it will show that I'm trying to be authentic and real and whatever, that I know that Rosie's all about business. And sometimes even to the detriment of her friends, it's too much about business. With that being said, that's the only really negative thing you could say about her on here, because she is kind and caring, and all of these rumors you hear, like she's got people on the payroll, all this BS. I mean, Rosie, I love you, girl, but for years you've said you get all these emails and you answer three, Rosie, I love you. Rosie, I love you. But your 3 days of answering mail, you know that all those mails are not real mails, not real letters you get. But girl, I don't hate you for it, because it's a good idea. It's a good idea. But the stupid crap that these people put out here about her is just that stupid crap. And they just can't take that she just truly is not about the drama. Yes, she's going to be watching. She'll watch, but she really does truly wish the best for people. She's not about drama. She has helped me out. She has helped other people out. All that other stuff, like her and Elvis are not in a relationship. I can totally see that, you know, she is into this whole van rebuild, and it's a good video series. It's a good video series for it. I totally believe, Rory and I were just talking about this, that Elvis is paying his way. Like, she's not going to have Elvis there. I truly believe this. Missy, Jen, and her are not going to have Elvis there if he doesn't help and do some things, you know, around, and she's not going to pay for things and all this other stuff, you know, and she puts her money where her mouth is. She said she doesn't want part of the drama like that. And she gets, with Elvis being there, she gets even more people now. She gets, 350. Come here, Moshi. Come here, yes. Where did Auntie Roro go? Did Auntie Roro not say goodbye to you? Oh, that's not nice. She jumped on her. Oh, I know. I'm so cheesy. But Elvis, one thing Elvis is not going to do, Elvis is not going to call your parents. Looney has called my husband, my ex-husband. We are divorced now, guys. I'm technically, Rubber, Brandon, I'm technically divorced right now. Not technically, I am. It says on the divorce degree, Kathleen Klein, Larry Klein are now single or something. It was so, I don't want to think about it. I haven't cried this whole time. I haven't cried, guys. Okay. So I am single now. I'm single. Like, if they ask me, I am single. Weird. Anyways, what was it going with that? Looney has called. I love it how she said she hasn't called. She's called him. She's called him twice. Her or her flunkies have been involved in calling my friends on Facebook. When I have friends that I've known, they all tell me, they all know the story. They all think it's just crazy. Her under a troll name, or Jack under a troll name, or whatever under a troll name, but it's her people, it's her group of people, have gotten a hold of my friend who donated to me through my GoFundMe for my attorney before. And they do all that kind of stuff. So yeah, but Elvis isn't going to do that. He's not going to take the time and call your family. I know. Yes. Is it going to be online too? And good. I'm glad that I'm going to say this. Well, it has to be. I won't say anything else about it not being online. You know what I mean? Funny, she said you called her mom in the nursing home, but now she said her mom was never in a nursing home in McKinsey. I know. And she got that thing because behind the scenes, when we were in a that hangout that I played, that private conversation thing, I said something flippant like, maybe I should call your mother or something like that. And then she took that and turned that into, Kat called my mom in the nursing home. Where's your proof? First of all, you did say that she wasn't in a nursing home. And why is it okay? Like, listen, why is it not okay to say your parent needs nursing home care? Like, I was able to have my dad only through the help of having visiting angels and hospice. And like somebody had said before, not to be afraid of hospice. I don't remember who that was, because hospice, you can go in and off of being on hospice. You can come off of hospice if you need to be. And people a lot of times get them too late, because they are the biggest help completely. Yes, you guys, big, huge sale this weekend. Saturday, mark your calendars, Saturday afternoon. To big, huge sale. We're both having a big, huge sale. And Rory is involved in shipping it all out. So we know my problem with shipping, because Rory's doing it. Hello, it's getting it put out. But I'm getting rid of a lot of stuff. Rory has so much stuff that she's getting rid of. Are you going to do are you going to do big lots of things too? Or is that going to be too big to mail? I don't know how much that is. It'd be like a lot, but have you seen the new Joker movie? You said it was one of the greatest performances I've ever seen. Really? I really wouldn't be into a Joker movie, but I would be interested into seeing. I have seen a lot of tweets about it, and there's a lot of talk about it. So I guess I could surmise that that's why, because there's a good scene. Tons of lots. So are you doing are you doing lots of makeup, of clothing, are you going to have clothing as far as kids clothing and adult clothing? I don't know what, it's going to be a lot stuff, guys, like seriously, because I'm going to be leaving here soon. She's just doing a massive purge and clean out, and of the extra stuff that, one of the pieces in one of her lots would sell for the same thing that she's doing the entire lot for. And passing on the savings of not having a percentage of it go to Poshmark or Mercari or eBay, when it's just straight friends and family on PayPal, you can pass the savings on that way too. So yeah. Hey, Maria. Bags. Are you gonna have oh my gosh. Have you seen her Poshmark? Have you seen what she has now on her Poshmark as far as bags go? My bags are gonna be coming. Look for mine before Christmas, Maria. And if you want to get yourself a Christmas gift, or somebody wants to get you a Christmas gift, look to some of it that I'm going to have before Christmas, because I'm going to be doing a blowout, massive designer sale. If I can sell it to the people after I get it, I have I have all my stuff in storage waiting. If I can pass it on and not have to sell it on, Poshmark or Mercari or eBay, plus I know you guys, it's going to be huge. Rory has Louis Vuitton, Balenciaga at really great prices, because they are purses, they're handbags that she has that have imperfections on them. That's a lot of the, what are you looking at, Moshi? No, Auntie Roro doesn't love you. No, she doesn't. She told me. Yes. Scratched or anything like that, as far as some of those go. And then she has she's got, I don't know how many handbags you have, like the non-designer handbags. You got a shit ton. I didn't know you had all those Balenciaga. Like, where the hell was I? Maria, girl. Maria, what size shoe do you wear? If anybody wears an 8.5, you will be lucky coming up soon, because there's no way any of these heels that I have I will ever wear again, and they're all brand new. And we're talking Jimmy Choo, Louboutin, oh my goodness, anything you could think of. You do, Maria, really? Are you 8.5? Whoa, okay. Now, some of them are with 9 because Louboutin on some of the very pointed, the extreme point shoes, they're very, very, because my foot is not like, my foot is regular. My foot's not, fat, narrow, whatever. I get everything in just regular, off the rack, regular. Maria, girl, come on, girl. This is something. This is something. And Rory's actually that same size too. Rory's actually that same size as well. But the shoes that I have, oh my gosh, I am going to be selling my Jimmy Choo. Remember the shoes that Trisha Paytas have, that she called them her Cinderella shoes, that are all Swarovski, and they're the Cinderella, like they came in light blue, like the Cinderella light blue, or like the clear Aurora Borealis. I have some beautiful shoes. So you know what? I will let you know first before, and I will give you and anybody else who is like close friends with me like that a heads up before I do. It looks like I'll probably be getting access to them in about maybe 6 weeks. But before Christmas, seriously. Exactly. He could have stuffed his big foot in there and danced around in them. Lord knows. But I mean, I didn't know. I mean, even like I have a pair of the Pigalle Louboutin beige. This is one of a story like that. I didn't realize that I had put 2 of them in my shopping cart, and they came, and I have 2, the basic Louboutin in the beige, in the Pigalle. So the heel is like 3.5 inches on that one. I do have a bunch of the shorter heel too. The heel that is the 85 millimeter, and then the 85 millimeter. So I do have a lot that are not like really like that. I have Gladiator sandals. I have boots. I have Prada boots. Prada handbags to match the boots, all brand new. There's nothing on the bottom of it. They were never even taken out. They're like completely brand new. Gorgeous. So that one I bought too, and I just didn't return the other one. Talk about wasteful. And it was mine. So this is none of the stuff I ever spent was my husband's. It was my stupid, wasteful being. Like the part that people didn't get is it was mine. It was mine. It was not my husband's. It was mine. But he thought of mine as his because it was in his account. And he shared his with me in the beginning. But he never spoke to me about that. He never said, this is how it's going to be. And by that time, he had more money than he could even deal with. So I didn't think he needed my money. But he was obviously counting mine. What else do we have? Goodness. I have a lot of brand new makeup there, especially. And I know the SAs that are at these local, like at Fashion Square in Scottsdale and everything. And because I've bought so much through them, I'm going to be able to go take a lot of this brand new in-box stuff. And when people have asked, why don't you get the money back for it? Because I can't do that. It's been too long. But I can exchange it for new product. So when you're going to be, and you could get the label off the bottom, the batch code, to see that it's fresh product. Because I'm not a person who's going to want to be selling old product. If it's something that I couldn't, like there's powder things like eyeshadows and stuff that you don't have to worry about as much as you do for like a lipstick and everything. But I'll be exchanging the makeup at the places that I can for new product and then selling that. I can't get a refund for it. It's too late. But I want people to, otherwise now the product has been sitting there. I want people to not have product that's, 2 years old. I have craft supplies up the butt there. I'm still contemplating, guys, getting my pink refrigerator. The one splurge thing, well, one. I'm not taking one, but it's my pink refrigerator, guys. Remember that refrigerator bought from the Big Chill? I think it's the Big Chill. It's the pink retro refrigerator. I want my kitchen to be with that refrigerator. And then I want to have black and white big checkers flooring in the kitchen. And I want to do the countertops. I want to do a resin pour to where it's got partial like silver mica glitter in that. Maybe I'll convince Lori that she has to pour my counters, or Crystal. I want to do that. But the thing with that is, and then you feel compelled to having, that's why at some of the places that I'm looking at, I hope that they have like dated refrigerators and stoves so that I can like replace them without feeling guilty. Because otherwise it's like you don't want to replace a brand new refrigerator because you don't get that much for them when you resell them. But they do have the fake dishwasher panel. So they have the dishwasher, the pink dishwasher that's like, you know, $4,000, or you can buy for $500 the front of the dishwasher. So you can put that over it, but then you're going to want to replace like your stove. So it becomes, you know, kind of costly. I know that we've always looked into before painting the one that we had, but the refrigerator, I want the retro one because the retro one just is that big bubble looking 1950s refrigerator that I have wanted forever. And I may just, you know, sell a bunch of shoes with the price of these things just to get the refrigerator. I don't know. That sounds like a really smart thing to do. I know, but you know what I mean? You get wrap off of eBay. Yeah, I saw it on one of those DH Gate things too, whatever the place is called, those like Asian places too, for your car too. Weren't you going to wrap your car, Rory? Weren't you going to wrap or have your car wrapped or something? That would be cool. That would be really cool because then you're not ruining the paint job if you want to, you know, resell it. And then you could change it every few years. That would be really cool. I don't know what color. But your caddy is so good because of the interior is just a neutral that it would go with anything. And then the outside, it would look good with anything. Ooh, if you get a cheap van. Yeah, we wanted to get one of those, I guess I won't say, what do they call them? Those white vans. With what's been said about me recently, I won't say anything what they call those white vans. But those white vans are great for picking stuff up when you find. How many times have you seen stuff, Rory, that you want to pick up and you just can't get it? I can't believe the deal that Dee got on that. That was a really good deal. That was a really good deal on that. I love Rosie's though. I know, the creeper van. My dad I used to date a guy and he had a van. Well, it was his family's van. Like their refrigerator repairman van or something. And my dad was really angry and he didn't want me to date him because he said it was a sin bin. Like that must be from back in the day. Like those vans have to be a sin bin. I get it. Why they call it that, but I don't know. But Rosie's van, I love because it's that little like ice cube shaped square, that little rascal. I think it's so cute. But hers is, you know, wasn't it like 20-some thousand or something? I heard that Donnie is now, for the people who remember Donnie on here and don't know where he went, I guess he's now Class B King or Desert Donnie. And he has some sort of like a $47,000 RV or something. So he did get one. Yeah, isn't Rosie's van like, wasn't it like 28,000 or something? I know, Katie, I know, right? Do you see him grabbing himself? What was that for? Why did he do that? Oh, you know what's funny about Leroy? Leroy Jenkins, who's in here. And thank you for listening to me, Leroy. That's his real name. Like the dude is the brother-in-law to, this is what I've heard, is the brother-in-law to Jack Sparrow. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But the dude used his real name. I thought it was a fake name. Maybe it is, because you know what? The stuff said on here, you never know if it's true or not. But I thought that that was pretty funny. I thought that that was pretty funny. Kind of as funny as Stellar was when Stellar um, lied to PayPal. He lied to PayPal and said he didn't authorize the charge. And then he lied to me. God, I wouldn't think a guy like Stellar would do that. I wouldn't think a guy like Stellar would lie that much, you know? Huh. I wonder if he went back and asked other people for the money back after he gave it too. I don't think, I've never done that unless it was something like, the only time I did it was when Elvis, I did that 850 for the solar panels and he didn't use it for them afterwards. That's the only time I didn't, but Stellar told me where to put the money and that's what I did it with is there. For getting your information from Dave, was that from Dave? I can't remember where I heard it. When I saw his name, it just came up like that was something that I heard. I don't know. I just think it's funny. I think it's funny. Some of these people like Jack, I know women tend to quit and then come back the next day because we kind of, I don't do it, but I can see myself doing it, throwing a hissy fit and quitting and coming back. I mean, whatever. But a guy does that. Like Jack Sparrow quits. And Jack Sparrow, I know this is throwing shade. Speaking of shade, your sunglasses are way too small for your head. Like I really want to send you a pair of sunglasses. And you've got a really high voice. And your sunglasses are like the 99-cent store sunglasses that are too small for your head. Oh, thank you for bringing that up, Leroy. Thank you. Oh my God, I think I heard Tucker say that about that I own a condo in Florida and I was begging for money for rent. The condo in Florida, I don't know if people thought that I could actually access that or take anything from that. I couldn't do anything with that. That was like stuck. It was neither here nor there. I couldn't do anything with that. And coming here, going back to Florida after I left there, if you remember, after a hurricane hit and everything in the whole town, I mean, I couldn't even get my mail. I had to leave. Like I couldn't get mail. There was no service. There was no Uber. I know afterwards, months later, they brought back all that stuff, but there was none of that stuff. I couldn't stay there. My doctor's office was meeting in the one that was in Panama City Beach, and the one that was in Panama City had moved to Destin, which was about an hour or so away. So even the hospital was gone. So yeah, it's kind of funny. When you see that, like Leroy did that. No, I'm saying Leroy afterwards. Afterwards, like they didn't come back in for months. I had no way to get around because I had no car. I had no way to do anything. There was nothing delivering. I had no way to go to the store. Amazon wasn't delivering there. They didn't start. I wasn't able to get the mail there. My neighbors weren't until way, way, way after the new year, way in there. And I had already been gone. And then by the time that I was gone, then it's called going to Arizona because I have a friend here. I didn't have any money and I have a friend here who could drive me the 4 hours to Arizona that I need to go to see my attorney. It was kind of a clusterfuck, you call it. I do own the condo, correct, myself and my husband, and we couldn't do anything with it. There was, and it just sold. It's not $80,000 profit that I made on it. It's much, much more than that. But there was like 50,000 of homeowners association for that special assessment that was taken off. Nothing could happen. Nothing could happen with it. I couldn't touch it. It was solid. It was sealed. It was nothing. And there was nothing there. I didn't drive. I had no way to get to the store. I had no way to get mail. There was no doctors that I could get to. There was nothing. I did. I stayed because I wasn't aware of what was going to happen afterwards. And if you remember, Leroy, people back then actually offered me help, wanted to pay to get me out of there. But I didn't want to take anybody's money for something like that because I was so depressed at that time that I really didn't care if the hurricane killed me or not because my husband wouldn't help me get out of there. I wasn't aware at the devastation that would happen afterwards. And how even if my condo, thank God, thank you, God, saved me because we had just had windows that were put in that would withstand her category 11. That's what they're making because I was literally on the beach. I am on the beach. You walk 100 feet from my condo and you have your toes in the water, but it veered a little bit off. I did lose everything like water and power, even though we were on the same grid as the police station were. So we would just have intermittent instances where the water would go off once it came back on again. Hundreds of thousands stayed there. Why were you so special? Hundreds of thousands. My town only had 15,000, Leroy. And they say that out of the 15,000 people that were there, about 1,100 stayed. In Panama City Beach, it's got 15,000 people. I was so special being there. If you've seen my condo, I don't know. It's the way that the hurricane goes. We did have damage. We did have roof damage. Anything that was not, sealed down was someplace else. There was a lot of damage, don't get me wrong, but the main structural damage, I didn't have anything like that. However, because of all the mass devastation of the area, they were just allowing for months and months after, it was just Red Cross, rescue, police, local people who came in to rebuild. But they weren't allowing anything like Uber or Lyft to get people. And I don't drive. I don't have a car. Yeah, the power went off, Leroy. The power went off about, what time was that? About 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I think it was when it was really hitting the worst was about 12. But we were on the police grid. So the police grid would put it back on. I had at the store, at Target beforehand, bought I had bought 3, but I had one power pack that were all juiced up that if I needed it, what's her name? Awesome Hooker helped me get a program on my phone that was like a kind of a walkie-talkie type program to where if I didn't have anything else, I could use that. Thankfully, I didn't need it. My neighbors had evacuated. I mean, I was the only people in my whole building that were there. Everyone was gone. Everyone was gone. It was the most terrifying experience, and it was too late. It was like that distant bell of times I could have taken the help from somebody online and maybe, I don't know, taken a taxi beforehand and gone further up. And I just had never been in a hurricane before. I didn't know how bad it was going to be. Plus, my husband didn't get me out of there. He didn't care. And a part of me was, if I die, let him hear about it on the news. That was really how I felt. And I sat in that little bathroom upstairs talking to my ex-husband on the phone, and we prayed. And I was so tired from being up all night long. And then in my loft bedroom upstairs, we have really high ceilings, and you could see the windows, and the windows were bowing in. The windows were bowing in, but they didn't break. And the whole place shook. And I will never forget that feeling. You really felt what it felt like to be, that you could die. You really, really felt the terror in that. And then afterwards, it was just, I was still naive to think, oh, I'll wait a week or something and then they'll have a Pizza Hut opened. I can order pizza from a Pizza Hut. Nope, there was nothing. There was nothing. There was nothing. The water was constantly on and off. So what my neighbors who did come back in told me to do was to fill up my bathtub. So the times when the water did go off, that I would have water in there. Thankfully, I didn't have to use it. All that went okay. Because I was married to him and he loved me. He loved me and he held my money, Leroy. So you'd think that my husband, wouldn't you think that your husband would get you out of there if he held your money? Wouldn't you think? No, Sister Earth is my friend. Are you my friend, Leroy? Doesn't look like it. Thank you, Sister Earth. I remember praying for you. I was scared for you and I could hear your breath. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And it was more like I prayed. I prayed. I didn't care like what God or whatever I just was, I don't know. And then just the devastation afterwards and how much it was and how I was still naive enough to think that life could go back to normal after that. Like they gave all the crews were out there giving out all these emergency, and they would offer to come to your house and bring you, if you couldn't get out, emergency packs of food. But I had food, canned stuff that I could eat there. I wasn't going to go like starving, hey, the jokes, I'm fat, but I had food to eat for months. That thing wasn't going to happen. But then, the realities that plane service, there's a small the airport that I fly into there is a small airport in Panama City. And that air flight service, if I would have wanted to leave the next week afterwards, they weren't operating or doing anything. So I'm just thankful. I'm thankful I made it through. And I know that they're still rebuilding there. But yeah. Yeah, Joseph, I always thought this. Let's see this. He loved you enough to kick your fat ass to the curb. And then he wanted to come back, Leroy did, and put loved in caps. Yeah. Usually, you know what? Unless a person has done something to you, Leroy, if you're married, unless they have did something like cheated on you with their brother or something really horrible, I would think you would draw from that love that you had for each other, and you would give me my money enough to get out of there. He knew where the condo was. He just didn't care at all. It was Sister Earth. It was so, and it was that nightmare. I always had that dream that I'm going to a wedding and I'm in a wedding, but I could never get ready for it. I'm always late. I'm always running late for the wedding. This is a dream that I have a lot. And at one point I realized I ran out of time when I knew that the police wouldn't even come and service you there if you wanted them to. Like, you was just too late. It was too late. Stupid thing, but I made it. I don't know. I always liked doing, what makes me happy is doing things for people. That always has made me happy. But it makes me want to do it on a bigger scale to make a difference. I'm never going to be perfect and not talk bad of somebody and not get angry and not, you can be multidimensional. Most people are like an onion. You peel back the different layers, but it really, I don't want to say purpose, but it's almost like, I know it sounds cheesy, I found my purpose, if that makes sense. I found my purpose. Leroy, you don't know that story. This is how ignorant you are. You don't know that story. There was nothing that was stolen. The judgment was paid for by me. By me. That's how much you don't know the story, Leroy. But you know what's funny? I wouldn't care enough to know about your life, Leroy. You don't interest me enough. But obviously, you've spent your time in here listening to me, and you can't stand me. And nothing that you're saying right now gets me. All I'm doing is using you for a tool because you look really idiotic by the things that you're saying right now. It was you don't think judgments come for things that aren't stolen? I was sued for much more. I wanted to settle for the amount that I gave for a story that you know nothing on and that I am not telling you. So I won. I won the case. Me, paid in full, me. How was that done at the time? My mother had just died, and my husband had me sell everything that my mother had given me to pay it, even though he had a lot of money and I was his wife. I paid it. $16,000 that was owed at the end of having to come up with the $48,000 or whatever it was. A check was written from my father to my husband to pay off the last. My husband didn't pay $1. A settlement because they wanted more, Leroy. I won what I wanted to pay, what I had offered. I knew I owed money. So what I offered to pay is what they took. So they hired on lawyers and had to pay for that, trying to get treble damages and didn't get it. Leroy, do you live like, I'm sorry that you don't get out much. I'm sorry that you don't know how people in other lanes live. I'm sorry. I don't know where you live. I don't know if you rely on your Halloween candy to feed your kids. I don't know if you rely on, I don't know what your deal is, but the fact that you don't get that and the fact that you would say, blah, ha, 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 tells me a lot about you. Exactly, Sister Earth. Exactly. If you have a disagreement with the company and they say, no, you owe this, and I say, no, I owe this, then you say, take me to court. We'll let the court decide. The court decided that the amount that I already said, yes, I actually was out something because we did have minor attorney's fees that my husband was going to pay because I wanted to pay the settlement. I wanted to pay in the very beginning. He stretched this on. I'm not going to get into that. He had a friend that was an attorney who was a buffoon and could have taken care of this very quickly. So my husband stiffed the attorney. Have you pulled up my husband's record? Have you pulled up that my husband has been arrested 7 times? How many times have I been arrested, Leroy? How many times has Larry Klein been arrested, Leroy? And how many times have I been arrested? There's no stealing here. If there's stealing, I'd be in jail. Do you know what it's like? Like, we had a lawsuit. We had furniture that were made for us. Leroy, this is how the big people live, okay? We had custom-made furniture that was made for us from Ladlow's Furnishings. They did it wrong. My husband didn't want to pay because they did it wrong. We got sued, okay? That's what that is. Leroy, I don't know if you just don't get out of the trailer park where you live. Klein. And Leroy, I've given probably 3 times the amount that I've ever gotten from anybody at all. And the people who helped me wanted to help. So there you go. Everything that you say, Leroy, I have an answer to. You know, you look like, I know, exactly, Sister Earth. Where I grew up, we call that a wedgie. Hey, wait. At least I can walk anywhere I want to. So now you're making fun. Wait, you guys, this gets better. Oh God, let me take a sip. This gets better. You guys, this gets better. This gets better. Hold on, girls. Okay. So if I was in a different group, if you would have said to me, at least I can walk anywhere I want to go, you would be called out for making fun of my disability. Would he not? Guys, no, it's the answer, Leroy. You just don't like the answer. You don't like the answer that I'm giving you. If it was not a bunch of idiots, you would be called out for just making fun of the fact that I have a disability and I'm not able to walk long distances right now, right? But look at what he's just said. I've answered him back on everything he says. He doesn't like it that there's actually, whoa, Eureka, an answer to this? I have to make him think his little head is like exploding, that he's going to throw on me, at least I can walk anywhere. Exactly, Sister Earth. Robert, yeah, do you think your husband had a much larger network? He did. No, I know he did. And you know what, Brandon? I know he did because I told my lawyer, he swore the one bank account. At the end, I was able to have my say. And I told his lawyer, I didn't even bring up, this is what I didn't do, guys. I didn't want to go after my husband. I didn't put out there in the papers to try to sway a judge for anything. His 7 arrests, and see Leroy hasn't put on there. Can you imagine if it was me? Could you imagine if it was me that had 7 arrests? Could you imagine drug-related charges? Could you imagine if it was me? Could you imagine if it was? Right now, they're making things up on me, and I have never had anything. I'm squeaky clean. I've had nothing. Hi, Side Chat. He sure does, Side Chat. Sorry, being fat is not a true disability. Stop eating Oreos. That's not what caused, my weight makes it harder. Right now I have my lower back, in an x-ray, you can see how the whole lower back is arthritis. Degenerative, I can't say the word, arthritis. And then I also have the, why can't I think of that? The pinched nerve, the sciatic nerve problem. So I have, and then I have the other one, where when I get settled and situated, I will have to either do surgery on my left knee for the problem that was actually weight caused, because the weight, because I was, my gait was off, putting more pressure onto one knee. Okay. But none of these problems are problems that somebody who was thin couldn't have. I do too, Joseph. I want those Oreos. Those Oreos, the inside of those ones, those were not ones that were like the regular mega stuff. That had to have a ½ inch of the Oreo filling. So good. So good. You're driving. Hey, girl, I'm just glad that you're here listening with me. Brittany, hey, yes, I did. I actually had a duodenal, I don't know, like Celeste can tell me how it's actually said, duodenal or duodenal switch, which is like a VGS, but it also, you know, they actually removed part of my stomach. But if you can stretch that out, you know, by drinking sodas with the carbonation, all that kind of stuff. So I went from 480 was my top. And then I got down to whatever, 220, 240. Okay. With the first one. And that actually is seen as a complete victory. I had just started up way so high. Then slowly I creeped back up. I would never have been able to, with this surgery, get up to 480 again, but I've managed a way to get my calories in somehow with sugary pop to where I went back up to, I think 320, 319 was the highest. So I had the revision, which my doctor, Buchwald, who did the first surgery in Minnesota, University of Minnesota, he notoriously leaves the common channel, whatever, something longer than the suggested 100 centimeters. I think you usually have 1,500 centimeters. He like, if you don't stretch that thing out and measure, you don't really know exactly how it is. He doesn't stretch it out. So it's actually like a little bit longer than it is. So anyways, I had the revision. So now they remade my stomach smaller and I could only absorb, but now I'm sitting at, 264. Hey. But I know this is my last hurrah with things because I used to be able to, I never had this problem before with, now I have the other problem on top of it with my back and knees and everything else that's just, compounding the issue. But I used to be able to get up off the floor, no problem, all that kind of stuff. Now I really, 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 really feel it. And there are no fat old people. It's just really rare. So unless I get down and unless I lose, I'm just saying right now, I want to lose 75 pounds. I'm 5'6.5". If I could truly stay at 175, I'd be really happy. But if I could stay at like 190, it's better. And I know before in the past, because Looney had weight loss surgery and gained hers back. So she tries to say that my weight loss surgery was a fail. But that's just what she does because she failed. And so she wants to put it on somebody else. But technically, no, it wasn't. I'm still used. Dr. Buchwald has now retired. He was part of the pioneer on this surgery. And they had started doing this surgery before or thinking about it as to get people to lower their cholesterol for heart patients because you weren't going to absorb as much of the fat and all that kind of stuff. And then he went on to this, and he was just a little Jewish guy practicing at the University of Minnesota, and he wrote the books on it and but he used me as somebody. I was a success, even though I am, he says to me, you're a success because you maintained after, like they say with the other weight loss surgeries, you will lose between 40 to 50% of your excess body weight and keep it off. With this surgery, it's supposed to be between 70 and 80 of the excess body weight. And if you think of me being 500 before and what I'm at now, it's not necessarily 70 to 80, but it's still a success. It's still not a failure to where I'm back. So yeah. And I've had the mint Oreos. Oh, you guys, oh my gosh. Does anybody have these locally? Okay, here we go. Remember the Mystic Mint cookies? Remember that? Remember? You guys remember? I am tired of mint cookies and they don't have that thin layer of actual mint. Like thin mint cookies are good, but where is that thin layer of the creamy mint? Mystic Mint that was made by the Nabisco company doesn't put them out anymore. And does anybody know of a fudge-coated chocolate cookie that actually has a thin layer of mint? I have tried to find a replacement for those forever. Me too. Oh, I love those. But now wouldn't you prefer a little thin layer of a real mint? Like, remember Mystic Mint? Remember those? You put those in the freezer. They do have one, Perez. It is like a kosher cookie. and they're imported, and when you can find them, they're like, they're kosher for Passover. You can get them, but they're really expensive. And I found them on Amazon, and they're very similar to that, but I have not found that since then. Like, I don't know. Good in the freezer. Yes. Yes. Yes, Diane. And I love Shannon going off on Looney. I love that. Yes, Looney Tunes is a troll, just a voice online. That's all she is. Exactly. I'm convinced obesity is caused by bad gut bacteria. I've heard you talk about that, and that's interesting. Taking over the intestines. I've noticed that a great majority of really overweight people had antibiotics given to them as a child. And I was always getting, you know, ear infections, or, the tonsil, what is it called? Not tonsillitis, strep throat, things like that. I heard you talk about a diet that was interesting, that leave the good bacteria or something on that. That was interesting. You don't like them? You like them as is? Oh. Oh my God. Sticky buns. Oh my God. Oh, Joe HD, are you going to be nice in here, Joe HD, or are you going to come in here and say something mean? You're going to come in here and tell me. What I do think is funny is how Bergs plays the Hats Off to Larry song. How do you not laugh about that? That is hilarious. Hats off to Larry. The plant paradox is a diet that is helping me, taking out all the lectins out of the diet. Ooh, interesting. I know, like, especially with the big aid that I have on this surgery, that high fat things are like, what is that one chip that they have? Is with the Olestra that they used with that? High fat things or anything go right through me. And the smell is horrid. When you have this surgery, because you don't have time for your poop and everything to like solidify. So fat goes right through you. So that should be a deterrent. Like if I'm with people, I don't eat because I don't want to use the bathroom and it smells bad. But if I'm on my own, and my ex used to always say, you're lucky that you're with somebody who doesn't smell or who can't smell anything, because that's how it is. But I know if I eat, if I took off sugary pop, again with that damn sugary pop, if I stopped liking Coke in bottles, I would lose. Oh my God. Celeste, what is it? What was it that he was saying? What's up? What I do declare, and it was like, what are you on trying out for? Like the Gone with the Wind. Everything was, I do declare, I'm a real nice Southern belle. I do declare. Like all the Southern people that I know, none of them say I do declare. Not one of them say I do declare. That's what we gotta get Celeste to do a video back to Bergs. And I do declare, Bergs, how did you know that I speak like this? I do declare. God. That was so funny. They still go right through me. Rubber. They still go right through me. Not as bad, but none of that sticks like that. And so if I was able to, I only, when it's really high food, I only absorb, like they said, like with my surgery that I had, the best kind of diet, whatever, to eat with it is the something like a keto type of a thing, because I really do need to have more of the protein. Also, I really don't know. I haven't had a blood workup done. I know that I'm notoriously always really low on vitamin D, and I've been so tired, and I haven't had that recently. And I used to take those 50,000 unit ones. You know, I know I need them, but they make me really, really dizzy. But I know I'm really, and I don't know all the other ramifications on this, because I'm really starving my body of other nutrients that it needs. So who knows with this one that I had with the duodenal switch, who knows down the line what you're exchanging for that. I just know that I was never, for every time that I thought Monday was going to come, I was never going to do it alone. And when you are really morbidly obese, it is so rare for that person to be able to take on that daunting task of losing that weight on your own. And it's a lifesaver, and nobody should ever be ashamed of having it. Like, I had a friend who had it done, and she was just mortified of anybody ever finding out. The same thing with some people in antidepressants. Like antidepressants, if you're depressed or anything, it's not your fault. I just don't think of things that way. And I wish nobody would, because they wouldn't feel that they need to be embarrassed about it. It's just completely. I think of some of the stuff that I did before, though, some of the ignorant stuff that I used to think. And then when you learn better, you do better. Like about being depressed, I used to really think, just like pull yourself up and it can be better. And there are tricks that you can do, like making sure you get up every day at the same time, go to bed at a good time, get outside every day. Things like to become routine, like make your bed every day, make sure you shower every day, make sure you brush your teeth every day. Things like that you can do for yourself so that you never do sink into that really deep, deep hole. But I know that, it's nothing, I was so ignorant to think you could actually they weren't thinking strong enough. Like if they just thought strong enough, they could how stupid. How stupid. It was like Gone with the Wind. Exactly. Remember that Carol Burnett one where she did a parody of that with the draperies and the green velvet ones? I like that show. I was like young and my mom always watched it, but I always loved when Harvey, what were those guys' name? And that they always would crack up. And you could tell that they were friends and they couldn't hold their composure and they would just laugh. I loved that. I miss a variety show like that. I remember when I was little, we used to always watch the Sonny and Cher show too, which is not on the same caliber as the Carol Burnett show, but it was funny. It was lighthearted. I don't think a show like that would really fly. We want salacious stuff now. We do. We're bad. You're bad, Celeste. Anyways, guys, thank you for being here with me, Celeste and Sister Earth and Brandon and Joe, Diane. Hey, Diane, I got a question to ask you, so I'm going to email you after this about t-shirts. So anyways, and I'm going to go now and read my Twitter. I got a feeling something is good there to read. I'm going to read my Twitter. Read my twatter. Okay, guys. Yeah. So I will talk to you later. And thanks for hanging out with me. Okay. Wait, my sister loved that show. She tried watching it one recently. It was not as funny as it was when she was younger. Yeah, I know. That's sad. I've tried watching some of those sitcoms too, and it's just not as, it's sad. Yeah. Okay, guys. Bye. Love you guys. Have a good day. Bye.